In this world, there are grotesque creatures. An ORC is swinging its weapon, face fierce. A brave man raises his shield to block its strike. Their bizarre forms make anyone who sees them recoil in fear. It roars in fury, pressing its weapon down onto Marin's body. He holds a bow in hand and looks toward the orc. Look at them. They're violent foes threatening every living being. Mickey and Hecate also prepare to leap into the fight, striking down the monster blow by blow. We call them monsters. The monster collapses with a heavy thud to the ground. Olga breathes a sigh of relief. Everyone worked hard. Is anyone hurt? Hecate replies, yes, we're all fine. Mickey adds, I just leveled up. Olga turns to Marin. You landed a lot of hits this time. It's reassuring to have a shield bearer like you on the team. Suddenly, his face darkens. Wait, you intend to. Only Marin is seen holding a sharp knife, walking toward the monster. The blade gleams. Marin lightly strokes it, as if cleaning the orc's leg hair. Secondly, he neutralizes the bloody smell, like seasoning to remove odor. Third, he cuts the leg into bite-sized pieces. Fourth, he stir-fries it with noodles. Mickey complains, ugh, it's gross. I still can't get used to him doing that. Doesn't eat ordinary food. Why eat that? Hecate says calmly, the world is vast and people are diverse. But at least he cooks wholeheartedly. Then Marin places a sprig of herb on top. The final touch of decoration. Or cream sauce pasta. Hecate applauds and prays. Mickey criticizes. I really can't get used to it. Marin twirls the noodles onto his fork and puts them in his mouth. Why, you ask? He stops eating and turns his head to look at Mickey. Hey, want to try a bite? Mickey declines while backing away. No, I must refuse. He eats happily. It truly tastes good. Truly otherworldly people don't know how to appreciate things. Right flavor, rich taste, the sweet meat juices from the orc's leg with odors removed. The tender meat melts, fatty collagen, noodles twisting and mingling with the cream sauce. The flavor elevates. A blazing ode to fat. Mickey frowns. How can he eat that with such a happy face? Hecate replies, you know, Marin has always been special. Olga says in a mysterious tone, oh, by the way, heard anything? They found the body of that missing hero from before. Mickey exclaims in surprise. Where? He answers, the Tursan forest to the south. Really? I crossed that ferry a few days ago. Hecate laments. Wasn't that person the most promising hero and yet was taken down? Marin suddenly stills, gazing into the void with a heavy heart. Just how strong are the monsters over there? Mickey curiously turns to him. Whatever the monster, you only think about taking it home to cook. Right, Marin? Why eat the monsters like that? Marin is silent for a moment. 3 months ago, a small village to the south, a panicked voice rang out. Why suddenly can the ordinary carriage not go? It was fine just the other day. How many times have I said it? Red Boar has appeared. It blocks the road and causes destruction. How can we set off? The village chief angrily looked at what the carriage returned as. A man sitting in the carriage trembled, his eyes vacant and looking completely haggard. Then the carriage collapsed to the ground amid everyone's shock. We won't go for now. Find somewhere else. It's the same elsewhere. We were planning to buy more. In the distance, an old man trembled. Child, let's go visit my son now. No, the girl said sadly. Maybe another time. Mahum wondered, but what do we do now? Even if passenger service is paused, the delivery deadline is only 3 days away. The village chief tore at his hair in a rage. The client is a noble. If we're late, it's trouble. A sharp shout rang out, drawing the attention of the two. I told you we're not going for now. An angry man cursed Marin. I don't care about your business. I'm staying here. If it's urgent, find another carriage. Saying that, he whipped his horses and drove off. The village chief muttered, hey, look, that iron-helmeted fellow may be a bit shabby underneath, but he seems fairly strong. Mahum assessed Marin from head to toe, his gear poorly maintained. The chief, irritated, stopped being picky. If they're desperate, they hire anyone. A voice called from behind Marin. Hey, wait a moment. The iron-helmeted warrior. Marin froze and turned his head toward the sound. Mahum smiled. It seems you're looking to leave the village. Where are you headed? Marin calmly. East to Adurama, continuing on. Lucky. Then travel with our convoy. No pay needed, just escort us along the way. We'll take care of the meals too. He replied, the other carriages are all staying in the village for now. He awkwardly scratched his head. I heard it's dangerous, but we must depart urgently. He said they heard you also have urgent business. Helping each other would be good, right? Marin calmly. All right, I'll go with. He was overjoyed. Wise decision. We'll try to find more people and set off at midday then. I'll wait in the carriage. Meeting is fate. Introduce yourselves a bit. I'm Mahum, a merchant. How about you? Marin answered expressionlessly. Marin, Mahunglas. Mahum leaned close to the village chief and whispered. He looks a bit gaunt. Don't tell me he's terminally ill. The old man clicked his tongue. Whatever, as long as he fights well. If you're worried, hire extra mercenaries. Why has he become like this inside? Has the hero left so pointlessly? He seemed crushed. No, I don't want to die. I must live. To return to a drama. Suddenly a voice snapped him back to reality. Marin, are you asleep? I couldn't tell because of that iron helmet. He gently turned and replied, I'm fine. Mahum continued. It's just that everyone was talking about this. Everyone on the carriage cheered. I'm going to Helm. We're going to a drama. Marin, you said you're also going to a drama? Where are you headed? Marin answered, visiting family at the St. Rias orphanage. I haven't been back in a long time. People are curious. There's an orphanage there? Big cities usually have them, I suppose. A man quietly asked, but you look pretty strong. What level are you? Marin looked puzzled. Level. It's easier to travel together if you know each other. A window will pop up showing the simplest stats to gauge strength. I'm a full level 23. You're not keeping up yet, but keep trying. Marin slowly manipulated the system window and said softly, 95. Suddenly the carriage shook violently. The driver cried out. It's appeared. Not far off, the silhouette of monster was charging. A panicked voice rang out. The red pig is here. The red boar bared its tusks and let out a terrifying roar. The man panicked and ready to fight. Move fast. Don't let it crash into the carriage. Too late. It's almost on us. Marin wondered, is that the red boar? True to its name, it was a giant wild boar. System, red boar, monster level 62, attack 426, defense 609. Level 62. Ah, perfect for testing. Marin picked up his sharp sword and slowly stepped toward the red boar. The man shouted, what are you doing? Want to die? The red boar leaped up, aiming to crash into him. Marin stared at it with a razor-sharp gaze. Then he swung his sword straight up. Bright red streams of blood splattered. Marin slowly turned his head, his body smeared with blood. The red boar had been felled by him. Everyone watched in astonished admiration. Marin froze, thinking to himself, did I really just take it down? The level gap was indeed large. But could one strike really have ended it so quickly? People exclaimed, wow, you're awesome. Split the red boar in half in the blink of an eye. They sounded young, but impressed. Maybe you're not ordinary, an elf or a beastkin. He hurriedly waved his hand. No, I'm just. Someone slapped him hard, nearly knocking him over. All right, job's done. Time to fill our bellies. Come on, let's quickly have dinner. Marin remained calm, saying nothing more. As night fell, everyone busied themselves striking flints to make fire. People chatted excitedly. So who is this Marin anyway? Hides his face all the time. Suspicious. Is he just shabby, or does he have some special skill? Mahum squinted and smiled. Who knows? Maybe that rusty sword is a legendary treasure. Mickey waved a hand. Come on. If you're curious, just ask. Hey, Marin. She looked around and called out loudly, but no one answered. Marin, weren't you just standing over there? Huh, where did he go? Suddenly, everyone was shocked and froze at the sight before them. They only saw Marin dragging the carcass of the red boar. Horrified shouts rang out. Are you crazy? Mickey exploded. We're about to eat. Why bring that thing out? Marin hesitated. I thought meat would taste better. Take it somewhere else right now. A ladle of soup was scooped up. Jeers rang out. Oh, come on. No matter how hungry you are, this is too much. Who can stomach a meal with a monster carcass on the table? Ugh, ruined my appetite. He didn't understand what he'd done wrong. Then scooped another spoonful and put it to his mouth. He froze as if about to vomit. Mickey sighed in wonder. Hot soup. Sweet melting potatoes. Marin complains. This is supposed to be tasty? She glanced at him, running through the forest. This food is already fancy enough. Or were you expecting a steak? Why are you looking at me like you're about to eat a human? Don't tell me you actually plan to eat that. Be sensible. Aside from being gross, what if it's poisonous? Marin kept looking. Monster carcasses must be processed like this. Gather the necessary ingredients and burn it completely. That's basic knowledge. She sniffed disdainfully. Starvation is preferable to touching that. All right, you're heading to a drama too, right? The road's long, so even if the food isn't to your taste, eat properly. Hey, someone called to her. The archer girl, come help me get the fire going. The carcass is too wet to catch. Mickey stepped over gently. Move aside, I'll handle it in a flash. Marin felt a bit suspicious. Why ask an archer to start a fire? Mickey invoked a burning spell, and a flame burst forth, leaving Marin very surprised. Oh wow, magic is really convenient. By the way, can I learn that? Sure, it's simple and useful. Marin spoke up. Hey, did you come from Magic Tower? Mickey wondered. Why mention the Magic Tower all of a sudden? Because most mages come from there. I'm not a mage. I'm an archer, and you just used a fire spell. She sighed. This doesn't require being a mage. Mastering elemental magic properly takes 3 years. Hey, what era are you talking about? These basic spells are mandatory for every adventurer now. Mandatory? Have you been living in a cave all this time? Look, do you see the city lights over there? Don't tell me they're all powered by mana stones. Using mana stones instead of oil lamps? First time seeing that. It's rare in the countryside, but now even children's toys run on magic. When I was young, we didn't have this. Time flies. Marin stood there, recalling his past. The smell of grilled meat. If only it were real pork instead of monster. Want a piece? Are you trying to kill me? I mean, finishing the mission and partying together would be fresh, you know? Nice. Add a cold beer, and it's perfect. Marin just quietly watched the flame Mickey had made. A diorama to the east, the excited voice called out. Oh my, we're lucky this time thanks to you. Because you killed the red boar, we arrived earlier than expected. Without you, Marin, who knows what would have happened? Thank you sincerely. Marin said sadly. No, I'm the one who should be thankful. People buzzed with conversation. Has he been starving the whole time? From the start, he seemed unable to eat anything. And when he did, he vomited. So afterward, he only drank water. Thought he was just picky. Turns out he's ill. The iron helmet never comes off. Don't tell me he's a monster, right? Maham handed Marin something. Just a small gift. Don't be formal. Marin wondered. It doesn't seem like this was agreed beforehand. He said it and left. Don't say that. It's the least we can do. See you next time. Marin looked at the pastries he'd been handed. He stared at them for a long moment, thoughtful, then casually tossed them away without mercy. As he walked, he thought how after so many storms he had finally returned home. Beloved hometown, Adurama. The city has really changed. The bakery over there is still as crowded as before. Just need to turn this corner. The house I used to long for. At St. Rias Orphanage. He froze at the sight. This was not the orphanage he'd imagined. Have I lost my way since I haven't been back in so long? No, this is definitely the place. So why has it become some strange toy shop? A clerk asked curiously. Excuse me, what are you looking for? Marin asked. Where's the St. Rias Orphanage? Where did it go? This is the place. The clerk thought a moment. St. Rias? I've run this shop for the 2nd generation. Never heard that name before. 2nd generation? It was definitely here. No use arguing. I never heard of it. Someone called to Marin. Hey, are you looking for St. Rias? An elder knows where it was. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I've heard rumors from long ago. That place used to exist. Used to exist? The elder replied. As I recall, the old woman's next words struck like lightning. It burned to ashes one night during a dragon attack, I think. His eyes widened, his pupils contracting sharply. Attacked by dragons? My life was as bland as a blank sheet of paper. No memorable moments. No brig de drums. In the final instant before it went out, what flashed in my mind was the warmth of the old dining table and the loved ones who've passed. That was the end of my first life. In Marin's heart. Fish? All right. I drowned. But why is it so bright? Is this the weak house? The curious children peered in. He's awake. Sister, the baby is awake. What's happening? I clearly remember having an accident. Kid, I told you not to shout like that. A newborn waking up will be startled. Someone picked him up to check. The sister gently hugged him and cheerfully said, Sleep well, little one. Welcome to St. Rias Orphanage. From today, you'll be a member of our family. That was my first memory in this world. The warmth of a family I thought I'd never feel again. A sack of coins was placed on the table. This is this month's donation. The sister gently scolded. I told you it's unnecessary. Marin replied, Yes, ma'am. It's just a little treat for the children. The sister worried. Just returned and you're leaving again? You've been overworking lately. He smiled. Sister, you know I'm fine. It's nothing, but this time you're gone too long. I'm so worried. This job is simple. Just clear the goblins to the south, and it's done. She looked sorrowful. If you say so, then I suppose it'll be fine. But before you go, promise sister one thing. What is it? Come home before dusk. I'll bake the berry pie you like. Yes, I promise. By a large tree, a voice called out. You found the right person. After the dragon attack, most buildings were rebuilt, but sadly nobody survived at that orphanage. Right now, our parish is taking care of the orphans. This grave hasn't had visitors for a long time. Do you have any relation to? Seeing Marin sitting silently on his knees, she felt it inappropriate to say more. Sorry to bother you. I'll take my leave. Marin's hand trembled as he reached out. I'll go back right away. You promised. Don't worry so much. He was filled with deep regret. If I'd been there then, would things have been any different? Rain poured down. He leaned against the tree. Now he could know nothing. Forever. Until the rain stopped. Two people murmured, Hey, the one from the other day is still there? Yeah, it's been days. I wonder if it'll be okay like this. Probably the pain is just too great. Marin remained seated, silently staring at the gravestone. When a piece of cake was thrown onto the grass, she tossed the cake down and walked away. Marin slowly picked the cake up, brought it to his mouth, and took a bite. Terrible. He couldn't swallow anything. Every dish tasted awful the same. Watching others eat the same food happily, he knew something was wrong with him. He couldn't even manage to fill his stomach. Having lost his family and left alone, what meaning is a miserable life like this? Even if Suddenly he snapped his head up. What's that smell? Meat? Much stronger, nothing like the things I can't eat. Why is this so strangely tempting? Marin's mouth watered. He stepped out, leaving the cake rolling on the grass. Marin walked toward the source of the meat smell. He entered a narrow alley. A sour voice snapped. Make the fire stronger, will you? At this tiny flame, how long will it take to burn? Don't you know it's illegal to dump monster carcasses in the city? And you're complaining about the smell? Can't you tell the difference between regular meat and monster meat, idiot? What if some scavenger eats it and dies? It's not poisonous monster meat, so stop worrying. If you're scared, take it outside the city and throw it away. Marin stared at the piece of meat, thoughtful. It smelled delicious. He quickly grabbed the meat, then hesitated, making the woman wonder, haven't we burned a lot already? Why is there so little left? He walked back to the grave, holding a piece of meat in his hand, brought it to his mouth, and exclaimed, delicious, a wondrous flavor I'd never tasted before. A little charred, but still sweet and nutty. Each fiber of meat oozing a rich sauce, not comparable to the mediocre meals I'd had before. Every swallow awakened an instinct within me. Then streaks of blood gushed out. Marin realized he'd bitten his hand. He knelt, clutching his hand in pain, tears of regret streaming down his cheeks. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. In the end, I was the only one left alive. I'm sorry. But I don't want to die. I want to live as a human, to taste more delicious dishes, to be happy and live fully. Do I deserve to live like that? Until dawn came. Radiant sunlight poured down. A fresh green leaf slowly drifted down, as if an invisible hand gently touched Marin's. He snapped back to the present. Marin silently stared at the gravestone for a long time. He sighed, bit his lip hard, then slowly stood up. I'm leaving now. This time I won't be late coming back. That was the quiet beginning of my culinary journey. The tower loomed in the center of a diorama, Guild Hexalum, where all adventurers' journeys begin. Every journey starts at Guild Hexalum, a reputable organization with a professional management system. It handles requests ranging from dungeon exploration to monster extermination. But don't think anyone can register easily. The small golem spoke in a mechanical voice. Next person stepped forward, slipped. Next, a person with overwhelming presence stepped up. The little golem nearly toppled from her punch. It excitedly cheered. Candidate 5312. Dao passed and set today's record. Dahlia raised her hand powerfully. People buzzed. That elf girl just scored the highest. The burly guy before only reached around 3,000. Where did this prodigy come from? Hey girl, congrats on being first. If you don't have a team, want to team up with me? I've got a bit of a reputation. The two of us as a team could climb to a rank. Dahlia curtly refused. No. Marin, embarrassed, said sorry. A voice called out. Aren't you going to try out, Marin? Oh my, are you sure you could take the test? Yes, of course I'll take it. Dahlia smiled at him, placed a hand on his shoulder. Don't be so tense. A stiff body won't let your strength show. Thanks. No problem. People from the same hometown should help each other. Maren was curious. Same hometown? The receptionist smiled sweetly. Welcome, ma'am. I've been waiting for you. The receptionist welcomes our guests. Miss Dahlia, I heard you just got first place, right? Dahlia was excited. Rumors really spread fast. Congratulations. You're now officially an adventurer of Hexalum. She took the paper and froze. Wait, rank D. First place, but ranked that low. She explained, that's the rule. Everyone who joins starts at rank D. But with your ability, you'll be promoted soon. So, can I take a quest right away to get started? Let's see. There are exactly 2 rank D quests, so 1. Periodic extermination of gargoyles at the level 15 manor. 2. Collect gremlin eyeballs appearing at the Gagoy Manor. I'll take one for now, but this quest requires a party. What? The Gargoyle Manor has long been abandoned, causing monsters to multiply excessively. To avoid danger, rank D must go in parties. A party? Dahlia glanced around and saw a man coughing and wheezing. A dazed, curious boy, and she sighed. What would you find around here? Excuse me, then I'll... Before she finished, something suddenly slammed into the wall, causing it to collapse. Panicked voices cried out, Is anyone hurt? Is everyone okay? Are you all right? I'm Fina. But what the hell just happened? I don't know. Suddenly, the small golem barreled through the wall. Tons of weight at that. Dahlia stared blankly as she looked outside. Across from her, Maren still held a combat stance, frozen, unable to believe the scene. He was terribly embarrassed. Then he bowed deeply. Sorry, everyone. The receptionist panicked. No need to apologize. Luckily, no one was hurt, and this isn't test cheating, but it's the first time I've witnessed something like this. I'll compensate for total damages, including external repairs, broken equipment, golem fees, and business losses due to the interruption. She smiled and pointed to the paper. A total of 2 gold, 30 silver. Maren emptied his pouch. It was completely empty. Not a single coin inside. Yes, I know. I can pay in installments. But if it takes too long, you'll be sued. I'll pay as soon as possible. Anyway, you're now an official adventurer. Work hard taking quests, and you'll be able to repay the debt. Dahlia spoke up. But right now, only quests requiring a party remain. Come with me. I'm also looking for teammates. Tough circumstances, huh? In Maren's mind, what is this elf girl scheming? System, Dahlia, level 36, race, elf, class, archer, strength 42, intelligence 39, agility 49, luck 36. Chosen by the spirit. With such well-rounded abilities, why would she want to team up with me? We can just split the quest. She'd been strangely friendly back outside. Let's keep it like that for now. Actually, it's convenient to go together. The receptionist cheerfully, warrior and archer. Truly a perfect duo. So that's settled. Maren thought, I'll accept for now. If she's capable, each of us can handle our own quest. Dahlia continued, there's no need to worry much. We haven't introduced ourselves, have we? I'm Dahlia. Just call me Dahlia. Although still suspicious. But for now, let's deal with the problem at hand. He shook her hand. Maren glacé. Call me Maren. Nice to cooperate. Maren, let's finish our first quest together. He thought privately that although he didn't want to, he'd go along. If it's temporary, it's not bad. To take the quest, you have to form a party. The receptionist cheerfully announced, Congratulations to the new team, Elf Archer Dahlia and Human Warrior Maren Glacé. Why suddenly you? You are. Dahlia scowled. A human? Maren followed the map. Here it is. Gargoyle Manor, listed in the dungeon. An irritated voice rang out. Damn. Stop dawdling already? Dahlia grumbled irritably. Damn it. Must I team up with humans? Why should I join a team with this inferior species? In Maren's mind, elves are a long-lived race with tall, graceful bodies and pleasing looks. Because of that, they were often enslaved, so relations with humans have long been poor. Although the guild receptionist seemed not to hold prejudice. Suddenly he looked up and around. A manor both beautiful and eerie appeared, truly befitting the mansion's name, very different from daytime. Is that our target this time? System. Gremlin monster level 18, attack 80, defense 52. The gargoyle's subordinates grow tougher and larger as they mature. Seeing the swarming horde is creepy. She turned to him with contempt. Hey human, stay away or you'll hinder the quest. A short-lived, uncivilized species like you. I won't even bother speaking. Know your place. She widened her eyes in shock. What the? Don't belittle me like that. I haven't finished speaking and you leave already? I've never seen someone as rude as you. Short-lived to the point of not learning manners? You're the one who started this. I'm over 100 years old. Stop insulting lifespan already. What nonsense are you spouting? Do as you said earlier. Just don't let it affect our quest. Wait, you're going alone? At least be prepared. Gremlins are only level 18. With skills like yours or mine, what's there to prepare for? In Dahlia's mind, has this guy read my stats? If he has a system skill strong enough to do that, could he also? Suddenly, she widened her eyes, not waiting any longer. She angrily pointed at Marin. How dare you view my information without permission? A despicable human like you. How dare you? A monster silently swooped in. Dahlia shouted angrily. I know your kind is lowly, but snooping on others' info is taboo. You immoral scoundrel. A monster growled in front of her. In a dungeon, you must keep quiet. That's the basic rule. Dahlia irritably wiped the slimy goo from her face. Yes, I checked your info when we greeted each other at the guild. Indeed, if you feel uncomfortable traveling together, once the job's done, each goes their own way. Wouldn't that be better? Don't drag each other along. You grumpy one. Who's dragging whom? You handle your part, human. I'll take the gargoyles. You finish off the gremlins, understood? Up to you. Marin punched the gremlin hard. 49-50. Nice. This number of eyeballs should be enough. While he's at it, check the other side. A wooden beam snap. Gargoyle monster level 21. The gremlin's higher tier forms are made of hardened stone. Dahlia, bow in hand, panted tired. The monsters dove in, making her scream. Marin watched from afar, thinking quitting now wouldn't kill him. So why not try tasting it? But which part should I eat? It kind of looks like a toad. Let's get it and see. Only pick the parts that look edible. Too little. If it's small, skewer it and roast. Just roasting the meat might be bland. Try grilling the innards too. Maybe it's like pork or beef. The offal might be the tasty part. Grill it a bit long. A hot skewer of grilled meat came off the fire. Gremlin kebab. Marin inhaled happily. First time cooking, and it looks pretty good. Give it a taste. He raised it to his mouth and bit off a large piece, then exclaimed, delicious. Monster meat really is better than ordinary animal meat. If I had to compare, it's more like duck than chicken, slightly bitter with a gamey smell. A dip in some sauce would probably make it even better. His head started spinning. The system reacted to the toxin, and he collapsed heavily to the floor, falling into a poisoned state. What's this? Poisoned? Serves me right for not listening. That bitterness wasn't from seasoning, but poison? Without an antidote, what do? I have to detoxify. Wait, detoxify? Gremlins aren't a species that rely on poison. If they have toxins, they must have a self-resistance mechanism, and the detox organ would be the liver. Let's try it. The system appeared and successfully neutralized the gremlin toxin. Marin breathed a sigh of relief. He's alive, almost died there. So the reason people avoid eating monsters isn't just disgust. Now I need to study antidotes too. Dahlia stepped forward, staring at him in horror. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Staring at the slimy mess on the floor, he stammered. She shook her head and pinched her nose. I know humans are barbaric, but I didn't expect you to be this crazy. How can you eat that? Wait, I know you elves are vegetarian, but that doesn't mean you can look down on or mock meat eaters. She snapped. Do you see this as a matter of respect or understanding, human? Not only do I have to be on a team with humans, now I have to witness this horror. It's a nightmare. I just want to return to the world tree immediately. Oh my god, didn't your gremlin eyes task get finished from the start? Once it's done, leave. Why are you lingering here? Marin explained. I accepted the quest on the condition we go together. If someone splits off and something happens, who's responsible? Not only us. The guild staff issuing the quest could get in trouble too. She argued stubbornly. That's my business. He continued. There's still part of the quest left. I'll help you take care of the gargoyles. Don't you want to finish quickly? Dahlia still protested. I don't need help from a human like you. It'll be done soon. Wait a moment. What are you curious about? He replied. I forgot to mention, I'm actually a shield knight. I have a taunt skill that draws monsters' attention to the user. Countless gremlins swarmed in to surround them, and even the gargoyles seemed to lose control. Seeing his actions, Dahlia lost patience. What are you playing at? What does a shield knight have to do with smashing barrels? She glared, her legs trembling. Wait, could it be you? In the mind of a frontline shield knight of a formation, the defining skill is taunt, attracting monsters' attention to protect allies. She shouted and stepped back. That human is terrifying. Usually used to protect the rear, but also effective for baiting large mobs. But does it always work this well? Whatever, not important. Friction, swordsmanship. Technique A. Active. Automatically triggers when using a single sword. Damage scales with level. Friction B. Active. Maintains a buff that increases melee skill speed. Hearing Marin's shield, countless monsters were drawn in. Dahlia scowled. Damn, because of him, it's become a disaster. I'll spread out and only support from afar from now on. Suddenly, her eyes widened, her pupils contracting sharply. Impossible. Marin was exerting himself, fighting countless monsters. I sweat just killing 5 gargoyles by myself. What on earth is this guy? Someone hurriedly chased after them. Hey, wait, what's going on? Dahlia worried. Are you really okay? You almost single-handedly wiped them out. Marin calmly. This is a team quest. No need to divide credit. Didn't you say earlier you wanted to finish quickly? But, as you said, I'm only cooperating to finish the quest quickly. Pathetic fool. Wait. Can't you hear that? This noise. Wait a moment. Marin flinched inwardly. Do elf ears have moving parts like that? Dahlia's expression darkened, her legs starting to lose control. What on earth is she doing all of a sudden? She looked down at a group of people. 2 of them were talking. Idiots, not monsters. It just ran across, and they couldn't even dodge. I told you to be at the black market by tomorrow. Who knew it'd slip into that rock crevice? Then they began kicking an elf in the back. Hurry up. Are you going to leave or not? You bastards. Dahlia was horrified at the sight. The elf kept begging. Please don't hit me anymore. She ground her teeth. See, Marin, that's why I hate you humans. You preach abolishing slavery with your mouths. Yet behind the scenes, you still traffic other races. Pick up your weapons. Marin, teach them a lesson, he said calmly. Why should I do that? Dahlia suddenly glanced at him. Huh, is there any proof that Elf is an illegal slave? Maybe they were arrested for debt or a crime. She shouted. I heard it clearly. They said they're heading to the black market. Then go report it to the guards. I won't waste time on things outside the quest. I thought you were different, but turns out you're just another human. She resigned herself. Fine, I'll have to do it alone. A soft sob drew Marin's attention. The wailing came from that wagon. The elf dove into his mother's arms. Mom, I'm so scared. You're here. It's okay. Be good now. Dahlia hesitated. Can I actually do this? No. All that training was meant for moments like this. There was no other choice. I must bear my fellow's pain myself. She raised her bow, but before she could finish her words, an object hurtled in and smashed the wagon to splinters. The villain scattered, cursing angrily. What the hell? What's going on now? Sword. Dahlia faltered. Didn't you say you wouldn't help? Marin calmly. I don't care about grown-up matters, but the child hasn't done anything wrong. Shouts of swearing rang out. What the hell is this? Where did that sword come from? Look up there, you idiots. What the hell are you people doing? Dahlia and Marin stood there, looking at them with contempt. How dare they cause trouble like this and think they'll get away with it? Dahlia angrily pointed at his face. Filthy humans. Who gave you permission to be rude to me? I know they're my kind being held in that carriage. They protested ridiculously, saying these are legal slaves recognized by Marquis Bechtel. She hesitated. Marquis Bechtel, you say? Don't believe it? See for yourself. Look at the seals hanging all over the carriage. Dahlia seemed to collapse. Impossible. Marin spoke up. This is really strange. The seal on the carriage isn't Bechtel's? Hey, what nonsense are you talking about? There's clearly a wolf figure. It's the symbol of Marquis Bechtel, but the wolf's eyes are both intact. An ancestor of the Bechtel line lost an eye, so the family seal should reflect that feature. That means this two-eyed seal is a forgery. Hearing that, the other guy flinched in panic, cold sweat pouring down. Impersonating nobility is still punishable by death, right? Shout up, kill them. There are only 2 of them. Back in the day, mercenaries avoided clashing with each other. That was basic etiquette. But times are different now, aren't they? Marin immediately unleashed a strike that sent him crashing to the ground, his eyes rolling white, coughing violently. Then he tumbled into a stretch of sand, sending sand flying everywhere. No way. One blow took down that giant. Bastards. Want to keep going? Surrender. At a villa, a refined voice spoke. Thank you, sir, for your help. How can we ever repay you? Dahlia hurriedly waved her hand. Seeing kin captured as slaves, how could I ignore it? I only did what was right. Thank you truly. She cheerfully turned to Marin. Sorry to keep you waiting. He replied indifferently. All done. She continued. The illegal slave traders have been handed over to the patrol. Their families in the city will come to pick them up. Those who forged noble seals will surely be dealt with appropriate. Sir, the little girl's childish voice. Did you really save us? You're so cool. Thank you so much. We sincerely thank you both. We bid farewell to the knight in armor. Marin was silent for a while, saying nothing more. Dahlia wondered. Marin, I never thought I'd say this to a human, but thank you for coming. Although I hate admitting it, it's true that because of you my kin were rescued. Marin's words stunned her. Then pay up. Huh? He repeated, if you want to say thanks, pay me in money. Saying thanks and asking for payment? She trembled with anger. Don't tell me you helped me in the dungeon just for the money. That's not it, but money is clearer, isn't it? In her heart. As if I'd ever thank a money-grubbing human like you. She threw a pouch of coins at him. Take it and be gone. You miserable creature who only cares about money. After this, don't expect me to trust humans again. Fine, you've taken the money. Happy now? The next day, in Hexalum, they confirmed the exact required number. The receptionist cheerfully said, congratulations on completing your first quest. You've worked hard. The first quest was pretty tough. Yet you finished it so quickly and perfectly. Yes, thank you. And here's the reward for this quest. Receiving the small sum. He thought, is the reward always this little? This seems a bit short. Please note, per guild rules, any outstanding debts will be automatically deducted from rewards until fully paid. Please understand, he stammered. I'll repay the debt as soon as possible. Then take another quest right away. Be careful out there. Since money's tight, I'll try something different this time. The quest matching my current level is the periodic extermination of Stowe's Dungeon LV-15. It's all stone monsters. Skip it. The main quest? Orc Camp. I haven't been to that place before. I wonder what orc meat tastes like. Probably like familiar pork. A voice called out, oh, who's that? Marin, right? Mickey happily ran up to him. I heard you were a mercenary, but switched to being an adventurer. Marin replied, oh, the person from the carriage that day. She gave him a hearty smack. Back then you ate so poorly, I thought you'd starve to death. Yet you're still kicking. Good to see you're healthy. Yeah, I'm glad to see you well too. What's up, Mickey? Oh, sorry. I'm so happy I gossiped a bit long. Marin, let me introduce. This is my teammate. I'm the group's leader, Olga. This is Marin Glace, the strong but grumpy mercenary I told you about. I've heard a lot. Nice to meet you. In Marin's mind, what did she just say about me? She continued, Olga is also an archer like me. And this is Hecata, the group's mage. The three of us formed the party long ago. 2 archers and a mage. The party composition is kind of weak. Only 3 people? Who's going to be the tank? Mickey sighed helplessly. We usually hire a temporary tank, but we've been unable to find one for a week, so we can't enter the dungeon. Also, since magic's easier to learn these days, fewer people want to be tanks. Then she held out her hand. So, Marin, would you like to join our group as the tank and come to the Orc Camp dungeon? Marin was utterly surprised to hear that. The sky was blue, sunlight shining down on. An ORC chasing after Mickey. Suddenly, an arrow struck its eye, causing it unbearable pain. Mickey cheerfully assisted. Great job, Olga. The ORC's face began to burn. Then it collapsed and rolled onto the ground. We coordinated really well today, didn't we? We even took down 2 right away. I was so worried I wouldn't finish the incantation in time and die. Since Marin joined, the hunts have gone smoothly. Wait a moment. What is this? An earthquake? No, this is a mob of angry ORCs charging forward. Everyone panicked. An entire horde of ORCs. Why are they suddenly swarming in like this? Mickey snapped. Damn it. Did those earlier shouts call their kin over? Run for now. Suddenly Hecata tripped on a rock and fell, wincing in pain. A berserk ORC lunged at Hecata. She looked back in terror. Oh no. Suddenly the ORC was flung away, startling her. Its neck was severed from its body, blood gushing everywhere. Marin finished off the ORC with his sword. Hecata, are you all right? I'm Fina. Did he really deal with the whole ORC pack like that? Marin, how unbelievably strong are you? Olga broke out in a cold sweat. So that's 10 down. Let's stop here and rest for today. Mickey complained. Shot so much my shoulder's about to fall off. And Marin, he's really terrifying. What level do you have to be to get that strong? He continued, anyway, it's good Hecata is safe. Hecata spoke up now. Right, I was so panicked I forgot to say thank you. She turned and found Marin gone. Thank you, Marin, for saving me earlier. He was standing here just a moment ago. Her nose caught a scent of something. Is that the smell of roasted meat? Mickey wondered. Meat down in a dungeon like this? Marin, what are you doing alone? She went over and patted Marin on the shoulder. So, who was your meat? Next time warn me. There's a kind of mushroom that grills wonderfully with meat. Want to try some? Then she suddenly noticed the ORC head lying on the ground and cried out in alarm. ORC, wait, what are you planning to do with that? The quest didn't say to roast ORC meat. Roasted ORC thigh. Tastes like pork at first, but when grilled it's like half beef, half pork. Marin lifted it toward his mouth to taste. Wonder which flavor would dominate? Delicious. Each bite dripped rich juices. The original roasted flavor is closer to pork than beef. It's fatty, so tender and incredibly rich. Mickey exclaimed, Don't eat that. How can you eat that? My stomach's growling. Dear Lord, do not let me fall into the temptation of evil. Cleanse these unclean things and grant peace to this land. Then sprinkle some salt and pepper and grill it. And it couldn't possibly be bad. Indeed, it was full-bodied and blended with pepper. A bit rich, but paired with wine it would probably be fine. Olga, curious. He's eating monster meat like it's delicious? Mickey trembled. I want to believe this is just a dream. Hey, Hecate, come over here a moment, the three called. Marin felt he might have to part ways with this group. But this ORC meat would be great to take home and cook other dishes with. Suddenly a hand landed on his shoulder. Marin, Olga said cheerfully, I understand your weird tastes, but eating that out in the open is a bit much. I heard some people, starving, had to eat monster meat. So that's why you can't eat normal food? You aren't going to kick me out, are you? You can't kick out a skilled warrior over a weird palate excuse, can you? I brought some biscuits. I'll share them with everyone. No need, it's getting late. If you finish eating, we'll go to sleep. I brought jerky. Want some? Come on. A massive ORC appeared. Everyone braced for combat. The ORC bared its fangs and lunged. It slammed its blade hard against Marin's shield. Everyone quickly counterattacked. By nightfall, Marin was roasting meat as usual. Mickey spoke up. Marin, today's the last day of the quest. Are you really going to sleep alone? He replied, Yeah, it's more comfortable. Olga calmly said, I'll take care of the watch. Hecate added, Thanks, good night everyone. The sound of the campfire was truly peaceful. Drunkard, why does a mage keep picking fights all the time? Here, go fetch firewood so far away. The fire's already lit. An angry voice rang out. Mangas. He jumped up, curious. Why is everyone awake? It's not my watch yet. Don't move. Hecate continued. The spell's already cast. Move, and you'll lose your head. You just need to answer some questions. While you slept, I used appraisal to check your info. You're unusually strong and unharmed, so I want to know exactly what level you are. Mickey, trembling, pointed at him. But Marin, what's that? What the hell is that Kinslayer title of yours? Marin Glace, level race, human, attack, defense, title, wolf tamer, successor the mage tower, intermediate knight, Kinslayer. He spoke softly, Kinslayer. A title for the cold-blooded who have slaughtered over 100 members of their own race. Against members of his own kind, attack power increases by 5%. Mickey trembled. You've killed over 100 people? This can't be brushed off light. Olga tried to explain. If someone becomes an adventurer of Hexalem without trouble, their criminal record should be clean, right? But this is completely different. Everyone angrily demanded. Why do you have such a title? If it's a misunderstanding, explain it. Marin, why aren't you saying anything? Could it be that from the start, you planned to kill us? At this, Marin finally spoke. It's not like that, but then explain, why do you have the Kinslayer title? He bowed his head slightly. Sorry. Olga continued. Even if you have your reasons, you know this isn't something to overlook. Eating monsters or having an unusually high level doesn't matter. But I can't trust someone who's killed so many people any longer. Leave our party immediately. Marin stood up at once. All right, understood. Then he picked up his pack and quietly left. 100 years earlier, the southern forest roared with many monsters. A cheerful voice rang out. We hit a big one. Anyone hurt? Took down 2 at once. Truly top-tier skill. All this fuss just to praise that? One person sneered. 18 more to go. Keep it up. Talk fast when you do nothing. Have you collected enough evidence of extermination? Charlotte. Yes, leader, let's get going. But that guild receptionist was really annoying. Always acting condescending. She was pretty nice to me before. Must be because of you. I didn't expect the contribution count to be lower than planned. Maybe it's because we're only on the forest's edge. Deeper in the center, there'll surely be herds. Right? Did those two run off scared of our skills? You're already scared just from a fake monster story? Hey, didn't anyone hear me? They turned and looked at Marin with bloodshot, terrifying eyes. Why did you do this to us? Why are you the only one who survived? Marin jolted awake from the dream. He looked outside, feeling empty inside. Down below, people were laughing and chatting happily. He stepped down and immediately drew attention. Everyone started whispering at once. Hey, the guy with the iron helmet is over there. Is that him? Don't look him in the eye. It's him. The murderer who extorts newly formed adventurer parties for their lives. How does the guild allow someone like that to exist? In his mind, just a few days' rest, and the rumors had spread everywhere. Those people always inflated rumors to suit themselves. Marin thought to himself that he shouldn't confront them. The receptionist spoke. Hello. Ah, perfect timing, adventurer. I have something to give you. Marin Glacé. From today, you have been promoted to Green Rank Adventurer. What? I didn't take a promotion exam. The Serang promotion exam was abolished years ago. Now you automatically rank up by accumulating achievements within a set period. Something else changed inside him again. Good thing it's not smashing a small golem again. So can I view the rank C request now? Yes, here you go. Among the remaining requests is this one. Marin thought that higher rank did mean a wider selection of requests. On the paper it said, Harpy Nest LV30, requesting purchase of harpy feather materials. Marin thought to himself, harpies are birds after all. Probably taste like chicken. I've eaten pork. Now it's time for moon chicken. Dahlia slammed her hand on the table and looked at Marin. Who is this? Truly a person who only cares about money. She continued, with your short lifespan, yet you dare. Such nerve. Human. Dahlia turned to ask, by the way, I heard you've killed hundreds of humans? Quite a notorious reputation in the adventurer world. Marin turned coldly and said, I'll take the harpy extermination request. Dahlia began to shout, Hey, don't look down on me, human. We came all this way to show kindness to someone rejected by their own kind. Emotar spoke from behind the two. Dahlia, is he the human you mentioned? Dahlia turned back and replied, Huh? You're here already. Emotar stepped in front of the two with a confident air. Dahlia extended her hand to introduce. Allow me to introduce. This is the leader of the group I'm in. Emotar also held out his hand to greet. Greetings, human. I am Emotar Ketrit Cherokee. I've heard a lot about you from Dahlia. Dahlia shouted. Wait, why bring up such pointless things? Marin thought to himself, a beast folk? Judging by the gear, it looks like a warrior. Marin's system started analyzing. Analysis. Emotar Ketrit Cherokee. Level 59, race, beastkin, class, cleric. Attack 382, defense 333, strength 72, will 49, agility 36, luck 9. Titles. Arena Hero, Intermediate Fighter, Neuroelectric. Marin looked at Emotar and thought the strength stat really was highest compared to the others. He reconsidered in his head. Did he read it wrong? Emotar smiled brightly and introduced himself. As you can see, my profession is cleric. Marin replied. You don't look the part at all, he thought and said aloud. Clerics are support classes focused on healing, but you don't look like a cleric at all. You don't have an ounce of holiness about you. Dahlia chimed in. I'm looking for a group of different races instead of those annoying humans. I happened to see Emotar's Hates Humans recruitment notice, so I joined. A group that hates humans? She continued. It's just me and Dahlia right now, but we heard rumors about you at the guild, so we wanted to ask to team up. Marin shrugged off the rumor. Dahlia raised her hand and said, Yes, because you're a human with the Kinslayer title, I'll specially accept you. Emotar cut in. I've heard your abilities are excellent, so as leader, I specially approve. Marin asked back, Hey, I don't understand what you're talking about. Dahlia snapped. Typical short-eared human, slow to catch on. Emotar gestured toward him and said, Hey you, join our group. We specially welcome someone admirable like you who has killed many of their own kind. Marin turned and said, There's no way I'd accept that offer. Emotar replied, If you refuse us, what other choices do you have? He turned to look behind him and said, Marin thought, Right, once the Kinslayer rumor spreads, I can't find another group. Fine, I'll accompany you for now. Emotar smiled, shook his hand, and said, wise decision, human. She raised her hand high in delight and added, good. Now let's set off to test strength and coordination. Marin turned and asked, where to? Emotar opened his eyes wide and said, of course. She pointed at the map and continued, to the dungeon. Emotar gestured toward the eagles and said, first we need to take down those beasts. The eagles prepared to swoop in, and Marin thought to himself that eagles are a real nuisance for shield users like. Marin looked up and wondered if he could reach them by jumping. The eagles were shot down and fell from the sky. There was an archer with them. Very convenient indeed. Dahlia lowered her bow and shouted, we can't let that human steal the kill again. If he's a shield user, he should stand guard. Anigol, Dovein, Emotar shouted from afar. Hey you human, raise your shield now. She rode straight into Marin's shield and flew up into the air. Emotar simultaneously charged alongside the eagle. She punched into the eagle's flank. At the same time, Emotar landed along with the eagle's miserable defeat. Emotar turned and said, a human with pretty decent reflexes, good coordination. Marin coldly replied, next time give a heads up. He paused and thought, yeah, whatever. Having teammates to fight with isn't necessarily a bad thing. Emotar rested a hand on his hip and said, at this rate, we're working well together. We've already taken down 3. Dahlia agreed. Let's take a little break while planning. Marin looked down at the golem and asked, what's that? Dahlia stepped forward and said, you two are even more rustic than me. Just come out of the deep woods. Don't you know living dolls are trendy now? Marin asked back, living dolls? Like a golem? She continued, exactly. Pet golems run on mana. The thing in front of you is a limited Forco edition worth 2 whole gold. Marin thought to himself, so they have these now? Dahlia cradled the golem and said, oh look, the pet's gathering feathers again. Good little one. Holding the golem, she continued, it runs on mana, so you don't need to feed it. If it doesn't break, it won't die. If you raise it well, it can fight and help with gathering. Admirable, right? Emotar held out his hand and said, come on, it's not for kids. Dahlia really loves cute things. Dahlia looked at Marin in panic. She darted ahead and said, I'll say it again. This is a golem, not food. Marin walked slowly from behind and replied, who said that? Emotar laughed. Shut up and keep hunting. Dahlia plopped down and said, today's lucky. Probably another successful hunt, right? Emotar agreed, so smooth. Emotar turned and said, but why is he shy about introducing himself? He fights well. Or is it just because he's human? Dahlia turned and said, no, there's a special situation. Emotar suddenly sniffed something and said, Suddenly it smells so good. Roasted meat, grilled chicken. Dahlia looked back and said, don't tell me Emotar only noticed now because someone shouted. Where's Marin gone? If he dares eat alone, he won't get away with it. From behind, Dahlia called out, wait, don't go Emotar, you can't. The tray of meat was already beside the frying pan. Marin put the meat in the pan and said, lightly salted already, pan's hot, start grilling. Watching, he said, the sound of meat cooking always lifts the mood. Flip it evenly so it won't burn, then plate it. Marin continued, finished grilled harpy loin. He removed his mask to eat and noted it looked just like chicken. Harpy is a bird, so it should taste similar. He thought further, delicious. The texture is like chicken, but the flavor is much richer, not gamey, melts in your mouth with a sweet aftertaste. Marin added, next time we should. Dahlia ran up from behind and shouted, stop right there. Damn it, I knew it. What's wrong with you? Marin said gently, sorry for sneaking a bite. I'm hungry. I'll share some. Dahlia raised a hand to protest. You think I'm angry over something trivial? Don't calmly eat something with a human-like face. Emotar rubbed his head and said loudly, that's the most horrifying sight I've ever seen. I thought I'd seen everything. Turns out I'm still green. The two knelt and wailed. Wait, the harpy's face is anatomically far from human and more like fish camouflage. Can you still discuss this now? Dahlia continued. I have to witness this cruelty for the second time. At that moment, Emotar smelled the aroma. Her eyes lit up at the plate of meat. Emotar began thinking again. No, it's a monster. Yet in a moment I find it looks so tasty. I hate myself for this. Don't you dare stare at that blasphemous thing. Marin turned and asked, want some or not? Dahlia replied, "Are you kidding? Now you're offering food." He began to boast. "Too bad. It's really good." Imotar's eyes brightened as he looked at the meat and said, "You human, do you dare challenge me?" Dahlia grabbed his head and said, "Hey, calm down." Imotar, the two continued shouting at each other. How could a monster smell this good? Suddenly, Marin remembered. "Ah, I forgot the stew I left behind." He opened the lid and thought. It took a while, but it was perfectly cooked. Stewed harpy feet. Imotar looked at him and asked, "You're eating that too? There's hardly any meat." Marin turned and answered, "Yeah, I want to try the taste of plain boiled bird feet." He ate as he said, just to see. Marin thought to himself, stewed long, so the meat is pudding soft and sweet. The collagen gives it a chewy texture, so it doesn't fall apart. So that's what harpy feet are like. He continued, "It's probably best with spicy seasoning mixed in. I should take one home to marinate properly." Dahlia responded, "You're driving me crazy." Dahlia kept shouting angrily, "Wait, what are you eating?" Marin coldly turned and asked, "Want some?" She lunged over, shoved a piece of foot from Marin's hand, and said, "Harpy talons have a numbing poison in them." "You idiot." Dahlia told Imotar, "Detox him." Imotar replied nonchalantly, "I don't know how." She shouted again, "You don't know? That's a basic cleric spell." Imotar answered that he was too annoyed to learn it. Then an eagle flew over, and Dahlia exploded. "It's your fault for causing a scene so we got noticed. It's all because of you." Imotar reached out and cast toward it. "Move aside. Instead of you, let me use the new spell I learned to deal with it." "Wait, don't be hasty." A flame shot at the eagle. Fire burnt. Forco. Dahlia's legs went weak. "What a disaster. My Forco hasn't even lasted a week." Imotar wearily looked at the two of them. Dahlia shouted, "Bastard, how dare you destroy my Forco?" Imotar replied, "The new skill is grade F, so I missed." Dahlia kept yelling, "My pet's enemy. I'll never forget you for 100 years, 1,000 years." Imotar smiled evenly and said, "I'll buy you a new one. Don't be angry." Marin looked down and said, "Forco's a limited edition. You can't just find another." Imotar added, "I'm sorry, what a mess." The receptionist said, "Yes, Harpy Nest mission completed. Please discard the Harpy meat." Dahlia looked up at the sky and said, "I'm exhausted today. Too many incidents happened." Imotar asked, "You really won't wait for me to buy a replacement Forco? Don't regret it." She looked at Marin and asked, "Huh?" Imotar called out, "Wait, what did you take now? Going to eat more?" Marin replied, "Don't waste the prepped food. That's such a pity." Imotar mocked, "Putting on a show in front of others? At least put it in storage." Storage. A system panel appeared. Seems like something. Storage is passive, attribute-less. A private mana-created space that can hold items except living beings, limited to 30 slots. Marin touched the system and thought. So that's what it was. I'd completely forgotten. He thought further. Carrying a heavy backpack everywhere for so long. What an idiot. No wonder people gave him weird looks. Marin put his hand on his head, wondering when he'd forgotten. Even something this basic, he couldn't remember. He kept mulling over his current state of mind. "Hey you." Imotar turned and asked, "How is it?" Despite the chaotic ending, each of us is strong and we coordinated well. Marin answered coldly, "Huh, yeah, fine." Imotar held out his hand and invited, "Then officially join our party. If we fight together, we'll clear any quest." Imotar reached to shake Marin's hand and said, "Officially welcome you to our group." Marin looked at Dahlia and Imotar and thought, "An official party, huh? Even though they're oddballs, their abilities are no joke. Indeed, teammates are better than being alone." He gently replied, "Yeah, all right, I agree to join." Imotar was excited. Imotar cheered happily. "Awesome. Now, let's register the party officially right away." Dahlia looked at Marin and said, "After all we've been through, you're my comrade now." She smiled and added, "Cherish every brief moment of your human life." "Human? No, marron glacé." Dahlia held out her hand and said, "I look forward to working with you from now on." Marin paused, thought for a moment, and said, "Yeah, please look after me." Imotar held out a sheet of paper with excitement. "Been waiting long? I just registered the party and came back." Dahlia and Marin read together aloud. "Tada, its name is..." She thought with suspicion in her head. "Messed up." Dahlia, what? Messed up is a name? You registered that silly name for the party. Emotar replied, "It was the leader's decision." Dahlia continued, "Being leader isn't an excuse to abuse power. First of all, why did you pick that word?" Emotar recalled and said, "Earlier at the harpy nest, I heard the human mumbling. What a mess." She continued delightfully, and somehow it just pierced my heart. I liked it instantly. I don't understand why, but though I didn't know the meaning, it touched me. A mess. Who names a party like that anyway? Dahlia was still angrily shouting. A party name should be decided by all members together. Emotar sighed and answered, "You didn't offer any alternatives, so obey the leader's decision." Dahlia looked up at the sky and yelled, "Will my future feats be under the name Messed Up? A world tree. Why do you only give me such bitter things?" Marin thought as he walked out. A weird party name won't kill anyone. Whatever. I'm going back to the room to grill the remaining harpy meat. Emotar stood in a corner and asked, Hey human, where are you going?" Marin replied coldly, "Heading to the inn." Emotar said excitedly, "With a new member we must throw a welcome party, celebrate the quest completion, and use the reward to go drinking." Marin answered, "No, I don't need that." Emotar kept pleading, "A welcome party without the new member isn't fun. Dahlia, come with us. Today you can eat your fill." Thinking it over, I still can't accept the name Messed Up. It's already been submitted upstairs, so give it up. Ugh, that elf sister is persistent indeed. Whose fault is this? Looks tasty, huh? Try a bite. At least name it something cool like Starseeker Memoria. Names like that sound badass. Dahlia's taste is really awful. It's as bad as chewing hot newspaper. Anyway, drop it. I have something to tell Marin. Oh, is that what you meant? What is it? About our party's goal. Actually, our aim is to become an A-rank party as quickly as possible. A-rank? Why? Because each of us has our own reasons. All adventurers in Hexalum start at rank D. You can rank up via exams, but the highest rank ordinary adventurers can typically reach is B. From a rank upward requires recognition of abilities and corresponding achievements. The exam contents are kept secret. Few know, only elite members recognized by the guild can attain it. There are kids kidnapped and enslaved by those people, so we need a lot of money to free them. That person agreed to release me in 3 years. If I earn enough money, he will give freedom back to them and promise not to hurt or touch them for those 3 years. My family was taken as slaves after the revolution and wasn't rescued. To become free people again, we have no choice but to pay ransom. Revolution? You don't know what the revolution is? It's a huge event that happened recently. How can a human not know that? Or have you been living alone in the forest for 100 years? Let me explain briefly. For centuries, humans kidnapped other races to trade them. They took us elves for our mysterious beauty. They captured dwarves to exploit their craft like a manufacturing machine. And they treated beast people like low animals to enslave them. Among those taken were my own family. They locked the captives up so they couldn't escape, exploiting them to satisfy their desires. In those inescapable prisons, our people were exhausted both in body and spirit. Those who failed to escape met a tragic, weeping death. That exploitation lasted for centuries. Eventually, the races, weary of oppression, united into an alliance. Races that once lived apart joined forces against humans. Then the revolution broke out, what humans call the racial war. We made many demands, including the abolition of slavery, and we threatened to declare war if humans refused. At first, humans stood firm, but unlike us, those with nothing to lose, they had too much to protect. In the end, they were forced to accept the terms and sign a treaty, making the trade of other races illegal. Provisions to protect the territories of other races were also enacted. After that, those who had been hiding gradually came out. Now you can see many races freely walking the streets. Amato and I can operate as adventurers thanks to that treaty. That's why, once freed, I became an adventurer immediately. If you want to earn money fast, this is the best job. There really is such a treaty? I don't know. What about Dahlia? What a reason. I want to become the elder of the forest where I live. My family has been elders for generations, and it's expected that I will be too. But the problem is the position is traditionally required only of the firstborn of each generation. My sister hates the elder role, but everyone insists on imposing it on her under the pretext of tradition. Because I'm confident I'm the best at protecting the forest. After hearing my plea, The people decided that if before I turn 150 I achieve convincing feats in the outside world, they will grant me the elder title. Becoming an A-rank adventurer alone isn't enough, but it's a necessary stepping stone for me to accomplish a bigger goal. From slave to elder, each of us has legitimate reasons. And since each of us has our own goals, we hope you'll join and help us. If you have a similar goal, that's even better. Hey human, you don't have any goals? Marin, if it's hard to say, you don't have to answer. Yeah, maybe I'm doing this for that. I have a dragon I want to kill. Dahlia blinked in surprise. Imotar echoed. A dragon? Marin recounted the old tale. The species that once attacked Adurama long ago, burning the whole city into a sea of fire. He said coldly, I want to kill it, and before I face that dragon, there are things I must do. Imotar and Dahlia looked at Marin with odd expressions. Marin thought to himself, do they think I'm boring? Dahlia glanced at a cup of water and called, Hey human, she asked. I thought you had no ambitions, but you're human and dare to harbor ambitions bigger than ours. Imotar also smiled and said, Or are you planning to eat the dragon too? You really are crazy. Dahlia continued. Anyway, you'll level up fast with us, right? If you want a dragon hunting campaign, you need to reach a high rank first. The three of them and Canlai said together, So we have a shared goal. Let's work hard. One morning in a certain town, Marin sat by the stove. So the party was officially formed yesterday. Today I'll rest at the inn and make a proper meal. He emptied his coin pouch while thinking. I just bought ingredients and the pouch is already empty. After the inn fee, there's probably not a single coin left. Marin poured oil into the pan and said, It's expensive, but anyway, let's heat the oil first. He raised his hand and said, Store it. Marin put his hand into the system. He looked at the tray of meat still fresh and said, Oh, the meat's as fresh as when it was first caught. Marin looked at the stove and thought, Keep it exactly as it was when stored. This truly is a perfect food preservation vault. He cracked eggs into a bowl, saying, Beat the eggs into a batter first. Marin continued mixing the batter, coating the rough surface evenly. He then put the coated meat into the hot oil, now placing it into the preheated pan. Looking at the pan, Marin said, The sound never fails to please the ear. As the meat browned evenly, he flipped it a few times to get a nice char. Then a second turn, Marin slowly lifted them onto a plate, drained the oil, and arranged them. The fried harpy thigh was complete, and he poked into a piece of meat to test it. Marin looked at the meat and praised himself, not believing it's his first time cooking and it turned out this good. Luckily, he cut large pieces, big enough for a full mouthful. He slowly removed his mask and put the piece of meat into his mouth. As he chewed, Marin savored the tender, falling skin combined with the juicy harpy thigh. Absolutely perfect. The sweet juices soaked into the crisp fried coating. Indeed, harpy is delicious. He tasted and thought, the distinctive sweetness of harpy meat is just like rich, fatty meat. Marin kept eating and said, The more I eat, the more I crave it. Good thing I made a lot. Definitely tasty. What to do if such great meat gets stolen? Dahlia's voice called from outside. Hey human, are you in there? Marin thought to himself, that voice is Dahlia's. Dahlia knocked and called. It's midday and you're still not up? Open the door, it's urgent. Marin slowly opened the door. Surprised, she asked, Why are you wearing a helmet indoors? She held out her hand and asked, No, I have something urgent to say. Are you free? Marin replied, I'm E-King. What's the matter? Dahlia said, It seems a Motar is in trouble. Marin thought, huh? Suddenly, he continued and invited Dahlia inside. Come in, what happened? She answered, This is hard to say in public. Dahlia looked at the dish Marin had just cooked and asked, Hey, is this food made from monsters again? She thought to herself, No, Imotar's matter is more important. Dahlia continued, All right, now's not the time to worry about that. She clasped his hand and said, First, what I'm about to tell you, don't let Imotar find out. Could you lend me some money? Marin suddenly stopped and thought. He shouted angrily, If it's about money, forget it. Get out. Dahlia raised her hand and said, Wait, hear me out first. Marin looked at Dahlia and said, If your reason isn't convincing, I'll throw you out right now. Dahlia replied, You humans live short lives and yet have such hot tempers. She continued, bluntly saying Imotar seems to have been deceived by that human owner. Marin asked back, deceived. The two kept talking. You've heard about a Motar gathering money to save the children at the banquet, right? Yes, I've heard. Today we took the quest, so Motar could visit those kids, Dahlia said angrily, clenching her fist. But today that owner, she continued, broke the agreement. He's preparing to put those children up for auction. Dahlia went on. That rotten owner tricked them from the start. He deliberately freed a Motar to give her false hope. She told them that when a Motar begged, he said if they paid enough before the auction day, in 5 days he'd stop. How much had a Motar planned to raise in 3 years? 10 gold per child. 20 gold total. Marin thought to himself, too. 20 gold. Dahlia began calculating the world's currency values if converted. 1 coin is 100 brawn. 100 brawn equals 1 silver. 100 silver equals 1 gold. 2 gold is enough for an adventurer to live comfortably for a month. 20 gold. Collecting the equivalent of 2 million yen in 5 days? She continued. Although she didn't want to admit it, that prideful woman had bowed down and begged to save her children. Marin interrupted. So you're going to borrow money for a Motar? Dahlia replied, yes, and I can't ignore slavery. After the treaty, the smaller races see each other as kin. She raised her hand and said, if you help, I swear on my honor I'll pay you back. Marin replied, no. Although the party's official, we've only known each other a few days. Marin crossed his arms and said, why would I trust lending such a large sum? Besides, I don't have the money. Right. You truly are human. Dahlia pondered and said, by the way, Motar's children reportedly only learned to walk a few days ago. Marin suddenly stopped. He said, you bastard, you dare exploit my soft spot? Dahlia smiled and replied, no, I only said that. Marin asked again, if I lend the money, what's in it for me? Dahlia answered, the benefit, double interest. How do I know you won't run or deliberately delay as you said? Life is short after all. Dahlia stammered. Then the two of them began sitting and staring at each other. Dahlia raised her hand on the table, calculating and thinking. Or, how about this? She called in a familiar tone. Hey, human, let me whisper something. Marin turned and said, why the sudden whispering? Dahlia whispered into his ear, do you have the wind affinity in the appropriate system? Marin stammered, no, I don't. But why the whispering? Dahlia explained as she spoke, the appropriate affinity. In this world, as long as you have the willpower stat, you can use any kind of magic. The appropriate affinity is the element that best suits an individual. Spells of the same affinity consume less mana, but hit hard. She went on, this affinity is usually present from birth. Most people have only one affinity. Dahlia recalled, rarely is someone born with multiple affinities. Most legendary mages in history were of that kind. She narrowed her eyes and said, if you help me this time, Dahlia continued, I'll grant you the wind affinity, the blessing of the gods. Marin was still stunned. Dahlia raised her hand angrily and asked, don't tell me that's still not enough? Marin said, wait, bestowing an affinity isn't something anyone can do, right? Marin turned and asked again, can you really do it? Dahlia shouted, I swear by the world tree's name. Happy now, Marin put his hand on the table and said, all right. He led Dahlia along, saying as they walked, all right, let's go then. Return to the bustling scene. People are walking about. Dahlia steps up from behind and asks, but how do you plan to make money? I did ask for help, but 20 gold isn't a small amount. Marin replies, huh? That one. Marin warns, saying the only option left is to illegally hunt high-rank monsters and sell the loot on the black market. Dahlia replies in panic, don't say such crazy things. Don't you know entering a dungeon of the wrong rank is forbidden? Marin turns back and says, I know, but is there any faster way to get a lot of money? Dahlia answers, either way, illegal activity is just too dangerous. Dahlia thinks to herself and says that tasks issued by the guild are ranked, and accepting tasks of the wrong rank is strictly prohibited. She imagines being chased and says, if you're caught secretly violating the rules, not only will you be fined, you'll also be banned from taking tasks for a while. Marin thinks inwardly, but illegal or not, it still takes far too much time. He muses that high-rank dungeons differ from low-rank ones. Most are in remote places, and the travel alone takes 3 or 4 days. Marin suddenly turns and asks, by the way, how do you plan to make money? Dahlia is stunned and replies, huh? Dahlia says, I thought of asking my family back home for help, but I'm afraid it won't arrive before Motar's deadline, so I plan to contribute the small amount I earn from adventuring for her. She then asks, Marin, don't you have any savings? Marin turns coldly and replies, not at the moment. Dahlia walks and says, right, you started adventuring the same day as me. So, is there anything valuable among your belongings? Marin answers, among my things. He thinks to himself that the most valuable thing he has right now is. Marin pulls out a pile of belongings and picks one, saying, probably only this. He continues, for now, let's each take care of ourselves and meet up later. Dahlia replies, okay, fine. I'll try to earn as much as I can. The sunset sky falls here, at a shabby castle. Marin slowly steps into the shabby castle. The shopkeeper inside begins to ask, honored customer, what do you need? Here we have everything from monster essences to stolen goods. Marin slowly produces the earring. The shopkeeper starts examining it and asks about the earring. This should go to a jeweler's shop. Why bring it here? The shopkeeper looks closely and suddenly shouts in alarm. Wait. He looks at the pair of earrings and says, aren't these fragments of a Pleiades? They dropped from a dungeon and have since disappeared, so you can't get them anymore. Where did you find this precious treasure? Marin replies calmly and coldly. An old teammate gave it to me long ago. In the blink of an eye, the sky brightens before an upscale building, and from inside the old man speaks. Now you seem calmer, don't you? He sits comfortably in a chair and says, no matter how wildly you rampaged, it was pointless. Now even that dull head should understand, right? He looks at Motar and says, telling you 3 years was just on a whim, but thanks to that you got to go out and have some fun, right? Motar thinks to himself, wanting to kill him instantly. That hateful face, I will crush it first. From afar, a voice calls, asking if Motar is there. Motar thinks to himself that the voice sounds like. Motar looks toward Marin and Dahlia. Is that them? Motar turns back and asks, why did you bring that oddly eating human here? Dahlia replies, I asked him to help us make some money. She continues, what? What did you say? Dahlia continues, details later. Right now, we need the money. Marin produces a pouch of coins and says, we're comrades of Motar and have prepared the amount the master demanded. Now let's make the transaction to free Motar's family. Motar looks at Marin and thinks inwardly. Even if he accepted him into the party, asking a human for help like this, he isn't planning to use that as leverage to bully me later, is he? The old man holds a money pouch and says, C-rank adventurers manage to get such a large sum? Do you think I can't tell counterfeit coins? He opens the pouch, inspects it, and thinks, this is real gold. Did they really earn 20 gold in just 3 days? Motar angrily shouts, whether it's counterfeit or not is obvious. Release my siblings at once. The old man sneers and says, you did bring the money, true, but the contract stipulates that Motar must earn the money himself. Accepting money from others voids the contract. Motar, kneeling below, shouts in anger, what kind of ridiculous law is that? Dahlia angrily raises her hand and yells, don't make things up. Under current regulations, when a slave's family brings the ransom, regardless of origin, they must be released. How dare you try to cheat in front of an elf? The old man grits his teeth and says, bring out the papers and their belongings. Motar thinks to himself that they're trying a dirty trick. Good thing Dahlia was here, otherwise he'd have been duped by this owner's wordplay. The man comes out from inside and says, sorry to keep you waiting. He brings out Fox brother and Fox sister and says, these are the slaves you requested. The children. Fox sister and Fox brother run into Motar's arms, saying, sister, sister. Motar gently asks, are you two hurt anywhere? Fox brother and Fox sister both chorus, we were so scared. Motar gently hugs them and says, it's okay now, sorry I'm late. Marin sees Fox brother and Fox sister and thinks to himself that Dahlia was right. He even enslaved children. He clenches his fist in anger, thinking the kids are skin and bones. Who would dare starve children like that? The old man produces a document and says, these are their original slave papers. He tears the pledge paper and says, and now I'll destroy it right in front of you. Are you satisfied? Emotar angrily raises his hand and summons Sparks to burn the contract in front of Fox brother and Fox sister. Satisfied, huh? The old man sits stiffly in his chair and says, "Huh, fine, your sister is free now, but Emotar, you remain my slave." He continues, "As for your comrades, the money's gone. Best be on your way, or would you like to take the shackle as a souvenir?" Emotar turns to Marin and says, "You human." Marin raises his hand and says, "No need." Marin again offers the pouch and says, "I'll buy Emotar as well." The old man, along with his men, Emotar, and Dahlia, all turn to look. Emotar shouts, "I don't need your human help. Just save my sibling and I'll handle the rest myself." Marin calls from a distance, "How about 10 gold for Emotar?" Emotar angrily snaps, "Don't ignore me like that." The old man replies to Marin's bewilderment, "Apologies." He puts on a sly smile and says, "Too bad. Emotar has already been put on tonight's auction list." He says this calmly in front of Marin, making the deal difficult to carry out. Sitting in his chair, he booms and raises a hand. Emotar is already listed for sale and cannot be withdrawn. If you want, you may participate in the auction to buy him back. Dahlia, disbelieving, asks again, "What?" Emotar shouted angrily, "What the hell are you talking about? You never said I'd be put up for auction." Dahlia snapped back angrily, "Shut your mouth, human. Do you think I buy that nonsense?" Old Hong Hatch replied, "Making things up? This is my legal right. The owner can sell a slave however they like. The contract even states that slave trading is a legitimate right of the owner." Dahlia said angrily, "You despicable human." Marin thought angrily to himself, a lowly scheme, but rather clever. He glanced at the old man while thinking that putting Emotar up for auction was just an excuse. Since she's his property, he can't stop him from selling. Does he really have to torment Emotar like this? Marin decided to speak. "Fine, then I'll join the auction and buy her." Emotar turned to Marin and said, "Hey, human." Marin stood straight with a cold voice. "Don't cause trouble, and just wait." Emotar had a plan already, she thought. "Why are you helping me so much?" Marin began to ponder. The old woman looked at the children playing and said, "Remember this, Charlotte. Every child needs care. Young children need an adult's guiding hand." She patted their heads as she spoke. "And you too. Every child born deserves protection. Isn't that what this place exists for?" Emotar recalled the old woman's words. "Because only you can protect those children," Fox brother said gently. Sister Emotar thought to herself that saving them isn't the end. Don't let them grow up alone. Stay to nurture and guide them. Marin sighed to himself. "All right, let's see how this goes." Emotar turned back to Marin and said, "If you bluff and fail, I won't forgive you." Dahlia looked at her and said, "I don't like it, but if Marin has a plan, I'll go along. See you at the auction." At that moment, the old man and Emotar both turned their eyes to Marin. The old man curled his lip in contempt and said, "Reliable teammates indeed. Hey, Emotar, do you really think those cheap C-rank fools can free you?" Emotar hugged Fox brother and Fox sister, staring at the old man with bullet-like eyes. He stepped forward, pushed her chin up with his hand, and said, "Do you think I'll just put you up for auction and be done with it?" He looked at Emotar with a triumphant gaze and said, "Either way, you won't escape my grasp." He continued, "You'll come back to me eventually." Emotar knelt beside him and asked, "What are you saying? What game are you playing?" The old man raised his hand and ordered his clerk to contact the Merchant Alliance to prepare. The clerk began, "Yes, next up is the item. The next item is a criminal slave arrested for multiple violent offenses. Male human race, in good health with no defects." The announcer's voice rang out, causing Marin and Dahlia to worry as the bidding started at 4 gold. Dahlia whispered, "I asked the clerk about average prices for beastkin slaves. Transactions usually hover around 8 to 9 gold. Even if it goes to 10 gold, I can chip it." Marin replied, "Not sure about that." The clerk's voice echoed, startling Marin. "Next is a hetero species." As they brought a Motar forward, the clerk introduced her. A wolfkin from the borderlands, once a Colosseum gladiator awarded the title of hero, also capable of using healing skills as a cleric. Emotar gripped the handcuffs in anger and thought that the owner must be playing dirty. She needed to warn Dahlia. The clerk continued to announce her superior physique, youthful appearance and feminine features. He looks down smugly and says, "Finally, it's your turn." He looks toward Marin and Dahlia and says, "Those C-rank adventurers have spent all their money. They probably only have spare change left." From above, he continues with a sinister smile. "And you think you can buy a motar? How arrogant." The old man butts in. "Do you think I'll let things go the way you want?" The clerk shouts, "Starting price for this lot is 6 gold, 30 silver. Let the auction begin." The clerk points at the old man and calls out, "Yes, bidder number 57, please place your bid." Dahlia turns back with a grave look and says, "Damn, he bid first." The old man bids loudly, 20 gold. Dahlia turns back, stunned. "What?" The clerk says, 20 gold right from the start. Such a huge bid? Imotar thinks to himself, 20 gold? It can't be that much. The clerk continues, "Is there anyone who will bid higher than 20 gold? Dahlia. Anyone bid higher than 20 gold? Dahlia rakes her head, thinking aloud. Ridiculous. I heard it's usually around 8 or 9 gold. Now, they want another 10 gold on top of that. That's a huge sum." The clerk says when he sees Marin raise his arm, "Yes, bidder number 21, please." Marin asks, "What's the bidding limit?" The clerk replies, "Humans 30 gold, demi-humans 50 gold." He thinks, well then, Marin stands and raises his hand, saying, 50 gold. Dahlia stares in shock and asks, 50 gold? Didn't you only have 10 gold? Marin answers, "I offered 10 gold. I never said that was all I had." He adds, "I never trusted that owner from the start." The clerk asks again, "Are you really placing a 50 gold bid? The demi-human limit?" Another patron looks down at Marin and says, "You don't look wealthy. Is this one of those bids and pay later tricks?" The clerk raises a hand and replies, "Sorry, our rule requires immediate payment. You can't bid with money you don't currently have." Marin walks forward and says clearly, "Is that so?" Dahlia asks, "Hey Marin, what are you doing?" The clerk panics, saying, "Hey, you can't just come up here." Imotar says weakly, "Marin," she wonders what you're planning. Marin pulls gold from his pouch and tosses it to the clerk, saying, "Is this enough now?" The man above looks down in disbelief and says, "Impossible. How could those trashy C-rank adventurers have this? Does he really have 50 gold? How?" Imotar opens his eyes wide and says, "I've won the bid." The scene returns to the quiet night below. At that moment, Fox brother and Fox sister run up, reaching out with both hands and calling sis. Imotar hugs the two Fox siblings and says, "You're both safe. Thank goodness. It's really over now. We're finally completely free." Dahlia crosses her arms and angrily asks, "You had that much money and didn't say so earlier?" Marin shrugs and replies, "Who asked you to pry?" Dahlia stands up happily and says, "Fine then, as long as it ends well." Imotar's voice comes from behind Marin. She shyly says, "Truly, thank you, Marin. You didn't just save my sister. You saved me too. I don't know how to repay you." At that moment, Fox brother and Fox sister below Imotar sniff at something. Fox brother and Fox sister run up and hug Marin, saying, "It smells like meat, so delicious." Marin asks the two, "Are you hungry? Let's go eat." Imotar asks Dahlia, "What should I do now? How can I ever repay Marin?" Dahlia replies, "Don't overthink it." She continues, "He probably helped because he likes us as teammates. Just keep being a good teammate." Imotar, eyes full of hope, says, "I'll try my best." She asks again, and it smells rich and savory over at Marin's place. "What are you two eating?" Dahlia turns and answers, "Huh? Eating what?" Meaning, she suddenly remembers and shouts, "Wait, you can't be serious." Dahlia runs up from behind and yells, "Stop right there. Mangas." Marin turns his back and replies, "Huh? What's going on?" Fox brother and Fox sister start putting it into their mouths to try it. Fox brother exclaims joyfully, "This is unbelievably delicious." Fox sister echoes, "I've never tasted anything so good." Dahlia screams, "What on earth did you feed the kids?" Imotar shouts in unison, "Huh? What's wrong?" Imotar looks at the two foxes and says, "Oh, it's fried. That's fine. The kids have teeth now, and beastfolk digestion is among the best of the races." She adds, "They're still growing, so aside from metal or monsters, they can chew and swallow almost anything." From behind, Imotar calls to Marin, "Wait, Marin, what is that dish made of?" He answers coldly, "Harpy meat." She looks at Fox brother and Fox sister and says, "You dare feed my beloved siblings that?" Imotar angrily goes over and snatches the food from the two. No, don't eat that. It's not right. One of them looks at her and asks, why? It tastes good. It's so delicious, I want more. Emotar looks and replies, no way. Both siblings reach out together and say, give us more. Hand it over. Suddenly she notices something and gasps. Emotar looks at a tray of food nearby and thinks. She thinks to herself, okay, if I eat this and collapse, the kids will be scared and won't dare ask for it again. Emotar brings it to her mouth, thinking, even if I die, I won't want to eat revolting monster meat. But it's all for my beloved siblings. She begins to put it in her mouth. Whether it's poisoned or not, she'll eat it and then fall down, so they stop asking. Emotar suddenly notices something. Dahlia yells from behind, hey, Emotar, what's wrong with you all of a sudden? She asks anxiously. Could she be poisoned like Marin was last time? Emotar thinks to herself, what? She stands stunned and continues thinking, why is this so tasty? Fox sister tugs at Emotar's clothes and says, sis, you're being mean eating alone. I want some too. Emotar looks at the plate and thinks, it's the first time I've tasted meat so tender, chewy, fatty, and flavorful. Wait, is this really made from harpy meat? Marin from behind asks coldly, so is it good? Emotar hugs Fox brother and Fox sister and runs off saying, good my foot. I'll never forget this humiliation. You'll pay for it. Dahlia turns to Marin and asks, oh right, Dahlia, what now? Marin replies, from now until you repay the 70 gold, you must give me 90% of your quest rewards. Dahlia startles and asks, what? 90%? She angrily shouts, you cold-blooded human. You want me to starve? Marin answers, if you can die from that amount, then go ahead and die. He says in a serious tone, and now that it's settled, pay me for my service. The two start walking toward the forest and ask each other if it's necessary to go all the way into the woods at night like this. Dahlia goes ahead and says, the village is too crowded and inconvenient. It's not a suitable environment for nature spirits. Marin walks behind and asks, but how can you grant attribute blessings like that? Dahlia turns back and says, you seem to know that's not something just anyone can do. First, take off that thick glove. Blessings have to touch skin a bit for them to sink in. Marin pulls something out of his pocket. As he takes it out, he says, elves born in the forest receive a blessing from a nature spirit at birth. The spirit's attribute becomes their innate talent. Marin continues, that spirit accompanies them for life like a guardian, and they can ask that spirit to grant blessings to others. He goes on, but even if the spirit is theirs, it can only bless someone once in their lifetime, so they usually save it for a partner, a child, or a benefactor. Marin looks up at the sky and says, I didn't realize it was so precious. Would you grant one to me? Dahlia, looking conflicted, says, Marin, you are my benefactor. You've twice helped me fulfill my life's wish to rescue our people from humans. She begins to gather energy and murmurs, answer my call. Sylph. Marin startles and looks around. The wind suddenly blows stronger. He raises his hand and feels it, thinking that although he can't see it, this is the power of the spirit. While gathering energy, Dahlia recounts the old days. Humans kidnapped elves not just for beauty, but to steal these blessings, promising to free them from suffering. Most of our people endured torture to keep their pride. But after treaties and the freeing of illegal slaves, elf suicide rates spiked. She continues, the cause was self-destruction. Marin sighs. Dahlia looks at her arm and says, elves have memories, horrifying ones. Those of my kin who returned after the treaty eventually returned to the World Tree because they couldn't bear those terrible memories. She reaches toward Marin and says, I utterly hate the humans who plotted and ignored our age of suffering. If I could, I'd wipe them all out. Dahlia suddenly tilts her face to the sky and exhales. She blows the gathered energy toward Marin. A system card appears. Under the witness of the spirit, the recipient attains compatibility with the wind attribute. Current innate attributes, fire, wind. Marin looks at his hands and thinks, I really gained another innate attribute. Dahlia says coldly, don't get me wrong, I still hate humans as usual. Greedy, filthy scum, willing to do anything for their own gain. She looks at Marin and says, Granting you a blessing doesn't mean I've forgiven you as a human. The next day at the Hexalum Guild, Dahlia folds her arms and looks at Marin. Oh, you're here. Emotar happily raises a hand to greet Marin. Hey Marin, over here. Dahlia still speaks with a haughty air. Emotar says she just found someone to watch the kids. Marin replies, it took time to find someone who is beast folk, but I couldn't entrust the kids to humans. Emotar excitedly clenches her fist and says, today is my first day as a free person, so I'll work my hardest. She produces a quest sheet and says, and I got a pretty decent quest too. Periodic examination. Meldot, ilvi tu krustelki. Dahlia starts to smirk and replies, Mad Dorth, go hunt those rotten mud lumps, but still safer than a C-rank job. Marin, holding the quest paper, thinks Mad Dorth are those slime-like moving mud clumps, right? Well, they're monsters, so they should still be tasty. Huh? Dahlia glares at Marin and snaps. You planning to eat those mud lumps too? Emotar replies smugly. The wagon's already waiting at the village gate. Let's go. Dahlia leads the way and asks, did you look up information on the other monsters in Crystal Cave? Emotar answers, of course. I'll explain on the wagon. They're chatting when a wagon pulls up. After this quest, I need to find new lodgings for the siblings. I can't keep them at inns forever. Dahlia looks at the wagon before them and asks, huh, what's this? She turns to ask Emotar, you hired such a fancy wagon? Emotar replies, not mine. I've only been free a day. Where would I get money for a nice wagon like that? Emotar stops and asks, who are you people? A voice from inside the wagon calls out, ah, here we are. Good thing I didn't arrive too late. Emotar suddenly feels a chill and says, wait, this annoying voice is. She looks at the man and says, the ex-owner. Marin steps forward and asks coldly, the transaction is over. Why are you here? The old man arrogantly raises his hand and replies, ah, after I sold her, I missed her terribly. People don't value what they have until it's gone. He answers with a mysterious air, so I want to propose a deal. He continues, to Marin's shock, do you want to retrade the slave? Dahlia shouts angrily, retrade? That sounds wrong. It's already done. Do you have to be this filthy? Emotar from below says, that long-eared fellow is an outsider. Please step back. We've known each other a long time. Don't look at me like that. Marin slowly steps closer and says, both my guards are over level 80. If they lose it, I won't be able to stop them. Emotar panics, level 80. From afar, the old man calls, Marin Glacé. He holds out his hand and says, I'll offer 100 gold. Please sell that slave back to me. Marondi plais fermly. No. The old man is taken aback and thinks to himself, too little? I don't see that slave being worth more. Dahlia angrily shouts, shut your mouth, you vulgar human. The old man keeps bargaining. What about 150 gold? Marin still coldly replies, no. He raises it, 160 gold. Marin continues, no way. Emotar shouts angrily, even if you give 100 million gold, Marin won't sell me. The old man grinds his teeth in anger. A beast folk demanding 200 gold. You're saying you won't sell even for 200 gold? Marin thinks for a moment and says, I'm a little tempted. Dahlia yells at him, what are you daydreaming about? Snap out of it. He laughs and replies, just kidding. Marin continues, the papers were torn up that day, and I agreed to let her go free. She was never a slave from the start. He stands before everyone and declares coldly that there's no deal with you. If Emotar causes trouble, I'll stand up for her as a teammate. The old man yells angrily, beggar scum pretending to be teammates. He sneers with a smirk, thinking I'll settle this quietly with money. So fine. He shouts loudly, you think I'll give up the fun of toying with that beast folk? As he speaks, a surge of energy approaches. If he's resolute, his only option is to abduct her. The old man is punched flying into the air by Emotar. It's getting old hearing him. She angrily yells, I'm not your slave anymore, you brat. Don't be insolent. As the soldier drew his sword, a voice came from behind. Daring to draw your sword? Marin from behind said, you'll die. The soldier thought to himself, what? There's not even a trace of magic. How is this possible? Marin forced the soldier's head into the ground in pain. The man shouted as he lunged forward with his weapon. Huh? How bold of you. While pinning the soldier's head down, Marin picked up a rock and hurled it at him, and forced him to step back. Suddenly, he vomited a great deal of blood. The old man couldn't believe his eyes and said, "No, that can't be. 2 level 80s? The soldier looked up at Marin and asked, "You, what's your level?" He answered, "About 95. Emotar exclaimed in surprise, "That's strong." Dahlia smirked and replied, "I knew he was strong, but still." Emotar grinned wickedly and patted the old man's head, saying, "By the way, we're not done with you yet, right?" The old man replied, half terrified, "Wait, hold on." His panicked shriek rang out. Dahlia glanced over calmly and said, "Emotar, the wagon's almost late. Let's stop here." Emotar, still triumphant, turned and said, I'm done here too." She hopped about and said, "Your guts ripped open. Don't let us meet again." Dahlia muttered behind her, "Filthy humans." The old man thought to himself, "Those bastards will regret treating an explorer like me this way. Once I escape, I'll report back to the trading guild." Marin stepped in front of the old man and said, "Hey, these days it's hard to find a party because I kill a few people." He said in a tone that made the old man pale, "It's easier to break a trading guild than to find a new group. It's really troublesome, so don't bother me again." Marin kicked the wagon hard, making the old man even more frightened. He coldly ruffled him and added, "Consider this a warning. Behave yourself." Back toward the cave, everyone began making their way there. Dahlia cried in alarm, "They're weak to fire. Light the torches." Emotar and Marin stood back to back to defend. She thought she'd done it right and asked, "Really?" "Hey," Dahlia screamed, "stop." The torch flared brightly. "Flema Inferos." Dahlia angrily barked, "You bastard, didn't you bother upgrading your skill?" Emotar scratched her head and replied, "Locked up all the time, I didn't have time to train." Marin slowly stirred a bowl of sauce in his hand. From afar, Emotar asked Marin, "Is that edible?" "I haven't learned healing. If you faint, you'll be dead." Dahlia also looked over and said, "The other stuff at least looked like food compared to this." Marin lifted it to his nose and thought he smelled something, only to find he didn't. He continued to study it and concluded it was like dirt. Marin slowly put it into his mouth and tasted it. It was like chewing flavorless gum. Monsters aren't necessarily tasty. From behind Marin, the two said, "Just eat the leftover fried harpy pieces." "Oh, Marin." Emotar slowly approached and thanked him. She was too busy caring for her siblings to thank him earlier, but truly, "Thank you for saving my family. I'll work hard to earn money to repay the debt." Marin replied coldly, "You have siblings to raise. You don't need to pay me back." Emotar hesitated and added, "But the sum is so large." Dahlia turned and asked, "By the way, how did you earn so much money? Don't tell me you did dangerous things like poaching." Emotar stared and asked, "Huh? You really make money like that?" Marin slowly lowered his head and replied, "No, not that. I sold a former teammate's belongings." Emotar felt sad and pinned her ears back. Marin continued, "I kept it for personal reasons for a long time, and now I feel it's okay to sell." Emotar clenched her fist, thinking, "Why sell something so precious? Even if I paid, I couldn't buy it back." Marin kept speaking to her sadness. "It's fine." He slowly lowered his hand and said, "My current teammates are you all. If you want to repay me, just keep adventuring together." Emotar sighed and replied, "Really?" Marin added, "Yeah, so for now on I'll need you to lead." "Team leader." She stood up and answered sincerely, I won't sulk anymore. Starting today, I'll be a proper leader." Emotar turned and asked, "By the way, did you bless Marin too? I heard you're just an adventuring friend, but you've known each other a long time." Dahlia ate slowly and said, "It wasn't much longer than when I met you. Rather, it was payment for a contract." Emotar stood up startled and said to the stranger, "But why does Marin always wear that hat?" Marin thought to himself, "Not really." He hesitated and replied, "It's just a private matter." She asked, "What's in that hat?" "Probably a huge hunting trophy." Marin stammered, "Hey, don't pry into a teammate's private business." Emotar cheerfully said, "A hunting trophy is like bragging rights for adventurers. It's fine." Dahlia chimed in, "But Marin, you're so closed off. People are curious because they want to get closer. Open up a bit." Marin sighed. He felt something beside him. Emotar and Dahlia also began to sense a murderous intent. Everyone saw the gecko and said, "There's a crystal tail." The gecko lunged toward the group. Emotar leaped up and fought the gecko. She turned to the two and asked, "Is Marin okay?" Dahlia looked at him and thought, "Let me see, look up." Damn it. Marin angrily thought, "The crystal shard pierced my eye already." Marin reached out to touch it and said, "My vision's fine, just a scratch. It's not like it was stabbed through." "What do you mean? There's so much blood, yet you say my eye's not injured." From behind, Imotar gently said, "Quick, take off the helmet. Scar or not, check the wound and treat it right away." She looked at Marin's eye and said, "If the eye is injured, we must return to the temple immediately." Anchorman from behind Dahlia shouted, Monster." Dahlia also shouted loudly, "Please spare me, I don't want to die." Dahlia ran, while Jesus stood there angrily with his sword. "Run, just run." Marin sat down on the cliff and said, "Don't touch me." Imotar widened her eyes and said, "Marin." Dahlia reached out and said, "Do you hate showing your face that much?" Marin put his hands on his head, face down on the ground, and said, "Yeah." He looked like he was about to cry and said, "No, don't look." Dahlia gently reached toward him and soothed. "Hey, Marin, I get that you're shy, but the wound needs a proper check and treatment." Marin let go and began, "Really, I'm fine. Just a minor scratch. Vision's normal." Dahlia replied, But you know my level. The crystal tail is only level 30, not strong enough to cause serious injury to me." Marin added, "Really, I'm fine. Let's continue hunting." Dahlia and Imotar stood in silence, sighed, and looked at Marin. She continued, "Okay, I understand, don't overdo it." She reached out and said, "If you feel off, tell us right away." The two of them said in unison to Marin, "Sorry for prying into your business." He replied, "I'm sorry too. I'm sorry for snapping at you both." Voices echoed from the castle. "Yes, the Mad Dorth extermination quest is complete. Everyone did great work." Marin stood and asked, "But is something wrong?" Imotar answered with concern, "Nothing." She suddenly asked, "You really don't need to go to the temple?" Dahlia also raised her hand and said, "Rest early today. Rest to keep an eye on Marin as well." While everyone was talking, a girl rushed in from the palace doorway and shouted, "All right, then tonight we'll return to the inn." "Emergency, emergency." He stood up and asked, "What's the matter?" The girl, panting, answered, She held up a sheet of paper and said, "A new dungeon has appeared in the border forest between Adorama and the capital. An open-type dungeon called." Marin thought to himself, "Dried flower garden." Dahlia asked, "A new dungeon suddenly appeared?" Imotar, curious, also asked, "Many other guild parties can handle it themselves. Hurry back to the inn." She blinked in surprise and asked, What? Imotar pressed, "What's going on?" "You really don't need rest." Marin took his mask and said, "Yeah. Plus, I already have a plan." At a forest under a clear blue sky, the anchorman smiled at everyone and said, "Guild summoned parties, gather here," beginning the briefing on the dungeon assault strategy. People began to buzz. "Listen, the first person who found that dungeon was beaten by the boss. They're in the temple hospital now. I heard there are 2 bosses, which checks out a dryad pair in the forest." Marin thought, "Dryads must be plant-type monsters, right? Then salad or some other dish." Imotar grabbed Dahlia's shoulder from behind and said, "Hey Dahlia, if Marin eats here in front of all these people, the party's reputation will be ruined." Dahlia sighed and replied, "Huh? Then just pretend you don't know him." Marin punched from behind and said, "Elves are vegetarians, so I haven't had the chance to cook for you. I'll make you a dish sometime." Dahlia ground her teeth and replied, "I don't need that kind of attention." She went on, "As reported, this time the boss count is confirmed at 2. Someone stood and said, "So the rumor was true? If that's the case, our current numbers may not be enough." The anchorman raised a hand and told everyone, "But please don't worry." She placed a hand on her chest and declared clearly, "The first hero is me. Anchorman Reisrick will accompany you all. This campaign will be safe." Marin thought to himself. Dahlia sneered and asked mockingly, "Hero? You don't know what a hero is? Living in the woods and knowing less than me." She explained, "Hero is a general title for those bearing the reserve hero designation. Out of respect, people drop reserve and just call them heroes. But some people are also uneasy about their appearance." Dahlia continued, "The very existence of heroes is a prophecy of the Dark Lord's rise, the Lord of all monsters." She went on to say that when that time comes, the heroes who stand against the Dark Lord will be saviors, so they always receive privileges from the nation or prestigious guilds. Very nice perks. The system card popped up showing info. Anchorman to Reisrick. Level 75 race. Human class. Warrior. Attack 831. Defense 700. Strength 97. Intelligence 15. Agility 25. Luck 104. Titles owned. Mid-rank knight. Star War God. Harpy Nest Destroyer. Reserve Hero. Conqueror of Mazes. Triangle Labyrinth Subduer. Tomb Invader King. Isoliasnin Trial Victor. So many titles. First to conquer dungeons, wow. She thought and continued. I remember seeing a hero before. What, you know them? Of course, there wasn't just one. Of the 5 discovered heroes, the second was murdered. The 4th was killed by monsters. Now only 3 remain. Suddenly Marin thought to himself. Everyone saw bees swarming in and screamed. They're coming again. Block them. Don't let them escape. Dahlia raised her bow and fired at the bees. Emotar also punched the bees with her bare hands. Marin, sword in hand, charged in a slash. The kid looked at those fighting the bees and said, "They're not bad." Huh. He replied, "Yeah." The group's name being messed up made him uneasy. Emotar's ears caught the sound of people praising them. She smiled smugly and said, "Our party's getting famous." Dahlia, serious-faced, said, "Not a moment for pride. Focus on fighting." She added, "Per plan, the hero and the B-rank group will take down each boss. Our job is to handle the surrounding monsters." Understood. The demonic flowers info appeared. Dried level 58, attack 388, defense 332. Danny rubbed his arm and said, "Damn, B-rank's reputation just flew out the window. We have to hold it until the hero finishes that one." Anchorman stood, sword in hand, blocking the demonic flower. She began to dash at flying speed toward the demonic flower, wielding her blazing sword. Their eyes met, and Anchorman said, "This ends here." She swept over the flower with thousands of slashes and confidently declared victory. Danny smiled and said, "Truly a hero." She clapped and praised. Single-handedly taking down such a high-level boss? Amazing. Anchorman smirked at the crowd's applause. She looked at the remaining demonic flower and said, "Only one left." She spoke in her radio. "What's all the noise? Do monsters have teamwork now?" Danny replied, "What can you do? When the hero arrives, they'll sort it quickly." Another demonic flower launched an attack at the 3 of them. Danny panicked. What is this?" She ran shouting for help. "Save me." Marin began thinking, "Damn, does the boss have multiple lives? Could this dungeon?" He thought about the next monster and said, "Do we have to kill both bosses at the same time?" Realization crept in. Both had to be defeated simultaneously. The monster, the mad mistress of the flower garden, had given up her remaining life in agony after losing her mate. From the dryad blooms burst despair and the sickly stench of blood spread. Level 70, attack 44, defense 44. Dahlia raised her voice. "Marin, what the hell is this?" Marin warned, "Don't touch it. The boss is berserk now. Everyone retreat immediately." Anchorman craned forward announcing its level had risen to 70. With the group's average level, they couldn't face it. "I'll hold it." Everyone fall back now. The vines are still spreading. Someone cut them. Screams echoed. This side is critical too. Someone go help the other side. She briefly thought, they're truly mediocre if this is how it ends up. Before the guild ordered everyone to gather to clear the new dungeon, someone smart like me had already collected full intel on the bosses from a thieves' gang. Location, numbers, and the fact they must be slain simultaneously. I only passed along part of the information, not lying. Blindly trusting me and charging him would be truly foolish. Anchorman slowly advanced toward it, muttering, "Now then, a hero like me will finish this." Bastard. A notification popped up, afflicted by a major curse. Cannot use skills or weapons for 10 minutes. Is this some kind of curse skill? A long vine coiled around Anchorman's legs, leaving her baffled. Why didn't I hear that this boss had a curse skill? Since when did it? The demonic flower used a tendril to fling her body into the air, then dragged her across the parched, withered ground. Anchorman tried to find a way out, briefly thinking those stupid vines could just be cut. But the demonic flower kept furiously dragging and attacking her. Anchorman couldn't react in time and was utterly panicked. Everyone ran in chaos, screaming. The heroes down. Retreat immediately. The operations failed. Marin glanced around and thought if things continued like this, they'd suffer heavy losses. The demonic flower continued its frenzied assault. Marin stood thoughtful, unsure how much force to hold back, then drew a martial art-style sword technique. He mused he'd just do it moderately. The demonic flower charged with a ferocious face, snarling and bearing rows of sharp, tiny teeth. Marin swung his sword and unleashed a flurry of consecutive strikes. Leaves from the demonic flower's body slowly fell away. The sharp blades sliced its body cleanly in two. Danny stared in shock. No, impossible. One blow to fell a level 70 boss? Marin stood dumbfounded, lost in thought. Huh, I didn't mean to go overboard. But how? The system appeared. Achievement unlocked. Title received, Dry Garden Breaker. Thoughts kept swirling here. This is like those early conquest titles that Hero Guy had. The same call, Marin. Emotar rejoiced exuberantly. They're all human and injured, so I left them behind. But Marin, you're amazing. Cleared this whole area. Dahlia sounded sarcastic. Want to show off your level? Make a fuss. Marin replied calmly, No, I didn't mean to. A voice called from behind, Hey. Tihoy spoke up. During the earlier brawl, I nearly died. Thanks to you, I survived. I didn't expect a C-rank party to have someone that strong. You blushed and stammered, and everyone chatted boisterously. Was your group the ones who took down those hornet monsters? Thanks so much. One strike, down an enhanced boss. Even the hero was defeated. That's terrifying. Marin only listened and waved his hands to deny it was nothing. Speculation swirled. Is that person a monster eater? Huh. That eat your kin title? Is that okay? Not dangerous, right? Emotar and Dahlia's eyes suddenly flashed with anger. Dahlia shouted, Do you people repay kindness with slander? Emotar growled at the fleeing crowd. You're all still on your feet. Mouths need a good punch of therapy, right? Before I tear those floppy ears off, disappear from my sight. Emotar grabbed some salt. What rotten luck. Everyone hurried over to Anchorman to ask, Hey hero, are you okay? Hold my hand. Can you stand up? Let me support you. Anchorman seethed inwardly. How on earth did he take down the boss in one hit? I couldn't sense a level. What trick did he use? He stole my first conquest title. What a cheap C-rank traveler. Marin Glace, don't forget this day. A new day began on the little street. A shell was just peeled off slickly. Marin had struggled a lot to pry open the shell. He breathed a long sigh and said, Finally the kernel is out. The nut looked glossy and intact. And the kernel is fist-sized, truly a rare specimen. On the way back, he got lucky and found plant monster chestnuts. How delicious are trench chestnuts? Marin described each step of shelling. First break the hard outer shell, then peel off the thin inner membranes by hand. The steps went smoothly. Once shelled, he put the kernels into boiling water to blanch. Marin continued, Don't overcook them. Take them out halfway. While boiling the kernels, prepare another pot with water and sugar. Boil on high to make a sugar syrup. This should do it. He slowly carried out the next steps. When the kernels are cooked, scoop them out into the syrup. Stir so the syrup soaks evenly into each kernel. Marin carefully worked step by step. When they were soaked, he put the lid on. Flavors penetrate as they cool, so let them cool thoroughly. Wait until the kernels cool inside the pot. Repeat this process 3 times in the end. Marin exclaimed excitedly. Marin Glace Treyant is complete. The glossy sugar coating he made himself gave him great satisfaction. Plus, each kernel was perfectly bite-sized. So how does this monster fruit taste? He calmly put a small piece into his mouth, and Marin immediately fell into an indescribable state. Marin's mind was consumed by that explosion of flavor. The layered sugar syrup preserved the rich sweetness of the chestnut kernel. The kernels absorbed the syrup, becoming soft, chewy, and pleasantly elastic. The taste was so good it made him exclaim, like fine chocolate. He couldn't enjoy such a delicious treat all by himself. Dahlia exclaimed in surprise, Dropping by me at night, and it's your monster-cooked dish? Marin replied gently, Fruit from a tree even vegans can eat. She sighed helplessly. It's not about the fruit or the jar. I've told you 100 times. Oh, all right. What about Emotar? Emotar frowned and declined. She doesn't like sweets, and besides, the little siblings are sleeping, so sweets aren't appropriate. With a forced expression, Dahlia, Marin asked, You really won't eat any? She said reluctantly. Damn it, fine, I'll eat. It's nothing. I feel sorry you stayed up late making this, so I'll close my eyes and take one bite. Dahlia forced a grimace and bit down. She suddenly froze, eyes wide. Dahlia thought briefly, is this really monster fruit? So sweet, fragrant, and tender. And the syrup's aroma and flavor combined perfectly with the chewiness. Seeing that expression, Marin asked, well, is it good? Dahlia, stunned, said, I'm just not used to sweets. Human food. She praised it. This really is pure autumn flavor. What's the name of this dish? He answered calmly, Marin glacé. Dahlia couldn't help but quiz him. Who names a dessert after themselves? Marin immediately explained. It's more accurate the other way around. But Dahlia, you really like sweets, don't you? She ate while saying, any problem? My master taught me to curb desires. Back home, even the sweetest festival treats were rare for me. You also asked, your master sounds strict, right? Dahlia remarked, yeah, because he's very serious. He's still on duty as the captain patrolling the home forest. Master rose. Suddenly Marin grabbed her hand and cut her off, which made Dahlia flustered. Marin, you continue. Pink hair, right? The weapon used is a water element spear. Dahlia was surprised. Huh? What? How do you know? Dahlia, Marin made a request. Could you show me your home forest tomorrow? A breath of fresh air in the central continent region. Slow footsteps echoing through the forest. Marin suddenly froze beneath a large canopy. In the great Azuro wilds, I once took a mission with a close friend, a mage among my old teammates. She was an elf, but unlike others of her kind, she used a spear that stuck in my memory. Who would have thought she'd turn out to be Dahlia's master? He walked and pondered. He'd asked Dahlia many times to confirm if it was the same person. But what if she didn't remember him? Suddenly, Marin stopped short when he saw someone's back. Rose turned around with a stern face. She said, a human in a tall helmet like your kind, but with a slender build. I hear you were eager to meet me, yes? Tell me your name. Human. Marin hesitated, stammering each syllable. Marin, no, it's me. Charlotte, long time no see, right? Rose. Upon hearing the answer, Rose curled her lip in contemptuous amusement. She laughed aloud. Charlotte, that name I haven't heard in ages. Have you been living well lately? It's been so long. Marin thought to himself, thank goodness she still remembers me. He slowly stepped closer and spoke. It's good to see you still well. Suddenly, a blade whistled out in a swift arc. Rose snapped sternly, then listen to my question now. What kind of person are you to dare fake a past relationship with me and deceive me? Charlotte? Yes, I did have a friend by that name, but that was over 100 years ago. How could a human live that long? If you truly are Charlotte, tell me what name I used to call him. Marin could only stand silent for a long moment. Rose continued. Have you really given no thought to our offer, Charlotte? Memories and that gentle voice from before resurfaced in his mind. We offered you to join our group. Meeting a strong shield knight like you is rare. Marin hurriedly refused. No need. But all these words have been spoken. Don't refuse so quickly. Come with us for a month and try it out. Carl still tried to persuade. Wait a moment. If you agree to come with us now, you'll have the chance to meet many other races. You're not interested? Rose urged. Huh? Now you're selling me out? Marin asked. That group has elves. He forced a smile and said, not our group, but that's my close friend, Lady Charlotte. You once said you wanted to meet other races. The embarrassed mage. Carl's introduced. Rose, this is the shield knight Charlotte. Rose looked thoughtful. Do those outsiders go crazy at the sight of an elf? This one doesn't seem very trustworthy, but Marin still shook her hand with a fond tone. Rose, I'm Charlotte. Rose scolded. Charlotte sounds flowery and long, inconvenient to call. For now on, I'll call you like this. Marin's voice suddenly rose, snapping everything back to the present. Charlot, if the name's too long, just call me Charlot to keep it short. Rose pondered for a long time. Is this really Charlotte? The voice and figure match, but they don't look like an old person at all. Marin also said the first time we met, I was about 15. Her mage friend back then was the youngest member at the Magic Tower. Madeleine's liked everything except my cooking, the one thing that horrified people. And the fan letters sent to her by mercenaries piled up like a mountain. Rose lowered her blade and said sadly, enough, but her eyes never left you. Rose reflected again, the air heavy, her tone soft but still like an old teacher. This is indeed the Charlotte I remember. But how can it be? She gently announced. I've come to believe you are Charlotte. Rose glanced sharply and ordered sternly. Follow me. There's something to confirm. After a moment, the two stepped into the small house. Rose sincerely apologized for having nothing to offer. This place is just for sleeping. Marin politely replied. That's fine. Do you live alone here? She answered, yes. Guarding near the forest gate is more convenient. He thought to himself, 100 years and she barely looks older. Truly an elf. Rose noticed his puzzled look. Why not take off the helmet? Marin bowed his head slightly and explained there was a special circumstance. Rose took his hand and asked, then let me see your hands, will you? Strange, it's not fake at all. While I, an elf, drift with time, you a human seem to have stopped time. Perhaps my friend Carl's also lived on and didn't age like you? Marin said with a choked voice. No, he is dead. I'm the only one left alive from the group. Rose continued. So it's been 100 years. How could the others have survived? Honestly, I always thought you all were dead. I ended my brief adventuring and returned to the forest. Only letters from Carl's are my source of news. But one day he stopped replying. I thought he was just busy and waited, but only 20 years later did I learn the truth about them. Your Romantia team vanished, as if evaporated. At that time, whole mercenary companies going missing wasn't uncommon, but a group as skilled as yours suddenly disappearing caused quite a stir. At first I didn't believe it and waited for news, but time stretched too long to keep hope. So now, to be honest, I'm more surprised than happy. Charlotte, how could you live 100 years without aging? Marin gently called. Rose, the first and last time we're on the same team. Do you remember the rare item I received? I got it from defeating the Spider Queen Regina Arania. The skill book, Arachnophobia Syndrome. She frowned and said, yes, I remember clearly. I was the only one in the group with appraisal skills. Marin clenched his hand and gritted his teeth. It was all because of it. The reason I lived until now was also what killed my comrades. A late afternoon in the small forest, a horde of monsters burst out from the dark depths of the woods. But with just a few arrows fired, the creatures were wounded. Carl's panicked. Damn it. I came here to hunt goblins. What the hell are those monsters? Luckily stunned. I have no idea. Prepare the spells quickly. Kit stood calmly and said, stay calm. They're not skilled enough to threaten us. Charlotte, hold them in place for a moment. Help me out. The monsters charged at Marin as if they intended to eat him alive. May raised her bow and said, all right, hold the line. A beam of light shone straight down from above. Glow rain. Kit glanced over and called out. Carl's, he's staring back. Ready on this side too. A great wall of fire flared up across from them as he uttered the words moles ignita. Kitch observed every detail and asked, Charlotte, have you ever seen goblins like these? Maronan said softly. No. May was furious, her head burning. This client said they were ordinary goblins, yet these are malformed monsters crawling about. A deep, warm voice also sounded. You'll need to pay extra for compensation. Consider yourselves lucky. He grew serious again. This is not simple. These goblins are nothing like the intel said. Don't push deeper. Bring specimens back first. A bewitching voice suddenly sounded from behind. You're being a bit cruel. I put so much effort into creating them, and you destroy them without mercy? May blinked in confusion. Hey, who are you? This area is off limits due to a mission. The voice then spoke up, Charlotte. Everyone assumed combat stance. Ket quickly warned, something's wrong. Prepare for the worst. We are an officially commissioned exploration party. This forest is under quarantine. Please verify your identity. The gold dragon spoke. Has humanity finally arrived? I forgot your timing is so different from mine. But do you think you can casually destroy the creatures I labored to create while I'm away? May frowned and said, creatures? Could those malformed goblins have appeared recently? We're confused too. Damn it. This is beyond our jurisdiction. He grabbed his robe and said, I am performing a sacred ritual, and you humans dare to disturb my ceremony. Everyone was stunned and exclaimed, what is that? Scales instead of hair? Is there a race that looks like this? Marin thought to himself, something's off. A status panel appeared, analyzing. Level unknown, race, dragon, attack known, defense unknown, leaving him aghast. Huh, what? Dragon? Suddenly, an attack sent clods of earth flying. A layer of ground burst apart into fragments. Marin fell straight down into a deep pit with a terrified cry. Charlotte, Charlotte, the gold dragon threatened. You dare look at me so boldly? Perfect timing. I will use you as offerings for my exalted ritual. Ket coordinated the team to fight. Damien, protect Charlotte. He pretended to cover his face apologetically. I was a bit hasty and rude. Even lowly creatures like you have the right to know who will kill you. I bear the title Gold Dragon, one of the wisest golden dragons at the peak of intellect. Carl's also panicked. The Gold Dragon. May warned, stay focused. Don't take your eyes off it. We don't know what it'll do next. He thought briefly. Even Charlotte was felled by a single blow. It's definitely a real dragon. Time to run. Cast a spell to blind it first. But the gold dragon saw through that plan and struck immediately. Seems you're a human mage. Huh. Quite arrogant. In a voice calling Carl's. May angrily raised her bow and snapped. You wretched monster. But the gold dragon only needed to raise one finger to knock her out. Ket anxiously thought, unable to see or hear anything at all. Is this the power of a dragon? Ket strained his eyes and thought. At this rate, the whole team will be wiped out. What can we do? She briefly thought. Fortunately, both of them were still breathing. If Damien can finish casting the mass heal in time, everyone will survive. But they had to buy time, distract its gaze. Ket growled. What is a dragon doing in this forest? What do you want? The gold dragon curled a lip and smiled. What do I want? Only one thing. The resurrection of the Demon King. He is the one who understands all things. So this wise gold dragon, suddenly realized a truth. To purify the world, we must utterly annihilate humanity. But another like-minded one went before me. The one who sacrificed himself against humanity, the Demon King. I am preparing the sacred rite to resurrect him. In the process, my heart has entirely belonged to him. When he returns, I will become his mate, and he will belong to me. Indeed, I am a love-struck golden dragon. Now I am Solvator, a dragon mad with love. Damien cursed under his breath in anger. Damn it, I've lost my mind, but thanks to that long monologue, I got more time. The mass heal is nearly complete. I'll trigger the spell and get everyone out of here. It stepped forward and said, I'm busy preparing for that glorious day. I have no time to play with you lot. Damien was immediately struck down with a cry. Damien continued. Do you think I don't see through such petty tricks? Ket seized the opportunity to attack from behind. The gold dragon pointed its sharp finger downward, and Ket instantly fell into the abyss. The gold dragon laughed smugly. You die like insects. I will dismember you to create new creatures. Marin was injured but still worried for the others. Facing it directly is suicide. At this rate, the whole team will be annihilated. But if I use that skill, I can buy a little time to escape. He grabbed onto the nearby blades of grass. Marin kept mumbling spider phobia syndrome. The system popped up. Assimilation effect activated. Assimilation effect has been nullified. In bewilderment. Huh. A blood-soaked arm fell off along with the thought. What is this? What happened? Why is everyone? Are there only skulls left on the ground? Marin, in a strange form, froze in place. He was in the form of a spider with grotesquely long legs. Panic swept everywhere. What on earth is this? Marin stood before a notification panel that had just appeared. The system popped up. You have received the title Killing Your Own Kind. In his thoughts, Marin fell silent. So all these people were killed by me? A blood-covered arm, its owner unknown, lay discarded on the ground. A notification appeared. Radiant Saint's Favor, rare, effect, plus 12 strength. A golden lineage accessory blessed by the faith leader. The Emerald Purification Stone can remove one abnormal status from the toucher. Usable once per hour. He thought in shock that the accessory cleanses abnormal statuses, and he suddenly realized deep down. Wait, could it be that? A notification popped up. Arachnophobia, active master shapeshift, a secret art granting the power of arachnophobia. The ancient spider monster shed its frail skin and donned the mantle of a spider queen. Effect. All stats explode, and it can use a special skill, mental assimilation, where the monster instinct invades the mind when transformed. Marin suddenly thought, assimilation, right? Earlier that debuff showed up. Was that why I lost my mind? Thankfully, this bracelet removed the assimilation, so I woke up, still in time to understand everything. What a relief. The info screen appeared again. The swordsman's corpse, race, human, class, holy knight, level 88, defense 780, titles, senior knight, conqueror of the golden range, guardian host, reserve champion. Marin stood brooding. A champion? What does this title mean? Did I slay humanity's hope? He turned and looked, thoughtful. Where are my teammates? We were clearly fighting the gold dragon. His eyes widened as he saw some. Corpses and weapons still lay scattered on the ground. Marin surveyed each item from his elevated vantage. He recounted it, but the grim feelings lingered. When I came to, 100 years had already passed. Friends like Karos, my comrades. How many more? I don't know how many I've killed. Even now, I can't confess my 100-year crime to anyone. Rose sensed it and asked gently, "That was hard to get through, wasn't it? You risked your life using secret skills to protect the team against the dragon. It was just unfortunate things spiraled out of control. No one can blame someone who gave everything to protect others like you did." Marin said sadly, "Sorry, it's been a long time, and I only talk about heavy things." She replied, "It's okay, at least now I understand why you're still alive." Marin repeated her question. "Earlier you asked why I don't take off my hat, right?" He mustered the courage to explain. "For that hazy 100 years, anyone who saw my face called me a monster. The townsfolk said my features were deformed. It's been so long since I dared look at myself in a mirror. After sobering up, I removed the skill effects and even planned to visit the shrine for purification. But I still didn't dare check myself for fear of revealing my face." Rose asked curiously, "Have you told Dahlia, my apprentice, about this?" He immediately answered, "No. If people saw this hideous face, I'm afraid all my relationships would fall apart." She counseled, "I think you should show your face to your teammates instead of tormenting yourself like this." Surprised, were you? Rose earnestly advised that what he fears isn't the face itself, but others' reactions. If the team accepts him, he'll naturally dare to face himself. Marin still bore anxiety. "But I don't truly trust them yet." Rose placed a gentle hand to encourage him. "After all, they are teammates. You'll learn to trust them the way we do now." Marin lifted his face slightly and said, "I'll try." She breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good then. By the way, what's the name Marin that Dahlia mentioned?" Marin replied, "It's the name of Snack." Rose was surprised. "What?" Images from before flashed back. "Hey, Explorer, what's your name?" Marin had answered once. Marin glacé. "I changed my name because I was afraid of being hunted." Rose reacted, "That's a bit paranoid. How have you been living since you woke up?" He told him at once. "After the mercenary band broke up, I became a hunter. Then I met Dahlia and a Motar the Beastman, and we became comrades. Now, I shoot arrows well. When he was little, he was stubborn. Teach him a stance, and he'd say it's his master's style and refuse to listen. 100 years have made her smile more. Huh. She used to be cold and harsh. She turned her face away. Who doesn't change with time? Even elves do." Soon after she said goodbye. "Thanks for spending time chatting with me. I'll visit another time." "Yeah," Marin politely said. "Next time, don't wait another 20 years to come back." Rose then offered a cheerful farewell. "Stay safe, Charlotte." "Oh no, Marin." She pondered. "Charlotte? You say you don't trust your teammates, but maybe they're the ones who trust you more than anyone else. Now it's up to your heart." He briefly wondered if one day he could let Dahlia and Emotar see this face of his. Will time Delan a person? Can I change? Night fell, and a small lamp was lit in the house. Emotar blew up and shouted, "That damn so-called hero, truly annoying." Marin walked in. "I just got back. What's going on?" She was irritated. "Oh, Marin, you're home? You announced you'd brought roasted sparrow seeds today." Dahlia panicked. "Those cheap seeds again from last time?" Marin was curious. "What's going on?" Emotar sprang up. "Marin, you should hear this too. This morning I went to the guild request board, and that damn so-called hero stole the exact quest I was going to take. Not only that, he falsely accused me of breaking the rules. Well, I pulled out the evidence," he said. The image and Anchorman voice kept echoing in Emotar's head. "Oh, sorry, I made a small mistake. I'm a hero. How could I do such a thing on purpose?" It drove her crazy. People could be hated already, and now he's petty and despicable. So detestable. He didn't return to the capital, but kept following us to make trouble. Dahlia sighed and said it's all childish tricks. "Marin, Apparently, he even spread rumors that you have no nose. Emotar still barked its childish. What kind of hero is he? Rumor has it quite a few people have been teased by him like this. Marin pondered. Looks like that weird guy's taken notice of us. She suggested, what? A hero would tease others like that. Marin, why not catch him? Marin glanced and suddenly saw the kid who had the sparrow seeds running off in that direction. He saw two figures stealing the seeds and heard Emotar's excited voice. No, kids, run away, run fast. But the two of them just kept enjoying it. So sweet, so delicious, sweeter than corn even. Emotar shoved them outside. Hey, don't eat that, spit it out. But they were stubborn and refused, said it was delicious. Dahlia pressed her lips shut, unhappy, and said, he won't be here forever. Be patient. If heroes are all like this. Marin spoke up. Hey, Dahlia, tell me about the heroes who've died. You mean I'm a fourth hero killed by monsters? He answered, no, the second hero was assassinated. Could it have been the first hero? A petty man like that could do anything. Dahlia shook her head vigorously. No, he's shameless, but not capable of doing something that big. You can tell by his childish ways of getting revenge. He was extremely curious. So who killed him? The first hero died from a dungeon mistake, but everywhere you look he seemed powerful. Dahlia continued, it's not official information, but there's a rumor like this. Marin grew even more curious about the gossip. Dahlia stammered. The one who killed the second hero is that tragic figure in that room. She bravely said, the third hero. Dahlia insists the suspect who killed the second hero is the third hero. Marin was astonished. A hero killing his own kind? She went on to explain the whole story. Everyone thought it absurd, so it remained a rumor. But people's suspicions weren't without reason. On the day the second hero died, a gigantic lightning bolt struck the capital. But strangely, that day the sky was clear with not a cloud in sight. So it could only have been an artificial lightning strike. At the same time, the third hero was known as a master of thunder. Yet his personality was completely at odds with his power. He was a basket-case madman who would immolate people on a whim. Though a hero, everyone avoided him. He might be the only hero people feared. The court announced the second hero died, fighting assassins targeting nobility. But the populace all believed it was the third hero, and rumors said whoever dared accuse him would be met with merciless retaliation. Emotar suddenly yelled, I've never seen a proper hero in my life. If I meet that first hero again, I'll pull out all his hair. Dahlia intervened. Enough, he is still a hero, and if we start trouble, we'll be punished at the national level. Marin remained in his private reverie. Well, he asked, that hero has a lot of first conqueror titles for dungeons, right? The info shows Anchorman to Reisrick, level 75, race, human class, attacker warrior, attack 831, defense 700, strength 97, intelligence 15, agility 25, luck 104. Titles, mid-level knight, war god star, harpy nest invader, reserve hero, conqueror of Labyrinth Zat, wasteland tomb invader, conqueror of Islay-Anon. You seem puzzled. Does he think I stole his titles? Emotar was also surprised. First conqueror titles? Dahlia continued, saying there's a rumor that the condition to become a hero is to hold a first dungeon conqueror title. All previous heroes had this title. She still hadn't lost her anger. So that money-hungry type hated new hero candidates appearing and wanted to claim all the first conqueror titles for himself. Dahlia agreed. Makes sense, Marin. He thinks you stole the Dry Garden's conqueror title, so he picked a fight. He targeted our whole group because you're teammates. Marin suddenly thought, more hero candidates is a good thing, right? He asked aloud, is he that proud of the hero title? A helpless voice answered, how would I know? Emotar turned and scolded, I told you to stop. Marin sank back into his quiet mood, recalling Rose's words. One day you'll trust them like we do now. Of course, no secret lasts forever. There will come a time when the truth is revealed. But even if this sleepy face of mine is a monster, will they still treat me the same as they do now? This question is too hard to answer. I don't know. Rose, a deserted place lit only by an eerie green glow. Emotar was stunned as information popped up again. Mutated slime, a level 39 monster that can transform part of its body into sharp spikes and wrap prey with astonishing elasticity. Dahlia immediately drew her bow taut, thinking slimes were just squishy things. Who knew this one was a mutation? Emotar, don't block my sight. It's hard to aim. Marin surged forward in his mind and cast an enchantment, Flame Blaze. Little flames danced around him. Marin thought briefly. Completely different from the slimes we knew. Could this be a sign the Demon King is resurrecting? If so, sooner or later we'll face that evil dragon again. What if we get backed into a corner like last time? Emotar and Dahlia are weaker than his old comrades in Romantia. Yeah, if that happens again, I'll... But it seems you were thinking wrong. A piercing scream rang out. Get out of the way, idiot. Dahlia gave a sharp glance. Now's the time. Emotar, with a resolute look, said if you don't want to be burned, move yourself. Flames erupted wildly with a sound. Flame Inferos. Emotar, with a strange look, asked if anyone was injured. Dahlia panicked in worry. In a dungeon and your mind is off wandering. Were you planning to eat slime again? Marin replied calmly. Not that. He suddenly froze, realizing something. Marin spoke. Dahlia, your hand? She answered calmly. It's nothing. Probably just scratched earlier. Marin wondered to himself. Because of me, she muttered. Why did she do that? Dahlia looked bewildered. What do you mean? Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Marin stood stern. You couldn't have been injured in a dungeon like this. Besides, I'm supposed to be the shield leading the party. So why are you the archer? Dahlia shot back bluntly. Aren't you dumb enough to not get that? Marin turned his face away. So why only? She sighed and said, I acted on instinct. You're human, but first and foremost you're my comrade. Emotar teasingly said this guy won't be honest. Dahlia snapped. Quiet, noisy ones, clean up the battlefield. Footsteps quickly moved away. Emotar was curious why Marin had seemed odd since meeting her master. Dahlia also noticed the strangeness. Earlier in the dungeon, he even apologized without arguing. Marin suddenly spoke. Sorry for letting you get hurt. Now, let's focus, okay? Emotar still kept prying. What did he talk about with your master? I don't know, Dahlia said irritably. How can you ask random private questions? Emotar boldly called. Hey Marin, what's up? Dahlia cut in. Wait, there's a sound. Monsters nearby. Marin quickly drew his sword. A chaotic battle was unfolding nearby. The wounded pulled back while others held their positions. Damn, how can there be such strong monsters here? Iunumpanta. Reinforcements still haven't arrived. At this rate, the wagon will. A dark appendage in a grotesque form threatened everyone. The injured soldier on the ground cried out, Help! Help! Someone save me. But it still pressed its strange maw close to him. The dark maw's razor-sharp teeth bared. Everyone was stunned. Whoa, what is that? Dahlia distracted it from behind. Over here, you idiot. Emotar coordinated smoothly and launched an attack. The flames erupted and shattered the dark maw to pieces. You're done for. But it wasn't that simple. It gathered the fragments again into a form larger than before. Marin suddenly lunged forward and destroyed it in an instant. The soldier expressed his thanks. Were we all thinking the same? That killing such a strong monster would be this easy? He kept expressing gratitude, truly thanking him. A short person stepped forward and said, I was so worried when the soldiers were in danger. Thanks to you, we survived. You suddenly realized they were dwarves. Emotar also spoke. Marin, you can't help too? Dahlia added, you usually only rescue kids. Marin wondered this was the question I should be asking. Why did you too save a human? It could still be dangerous, you know? Don't come out. Suddenly a huffing voice rang out. Impertinent. Do you know whom you're blocking? Everyone knelt to apologize. No, I didn't know you were here, I didn't. Greetings, your gnome. So you are our benefactors. Marin was dumbstruck, not knowing what was happening. What's wrong with you two? Who exactly is that person? Emotar and Dahlia turned and shouted. Watch your words. You don't know humans? This one is. That deep, warm voice replied. It's okay. People from other regions won't know everything. She introduced herself. I am the daughter of the dwarf kingdom Tatacha, Master Gold, Afiura gnome. Darkness covered the little town. Stars glittered in the sky. Dahlia sighed wearily, panting. I thought they were dwarves. Who knew the gnome princess would appear here? Marin was curious. Who exactly is this gnome? A sharp reprimand rang out. How dare you speak disrespectfully? She is the princess of the dwarf kingdom. So you knew from the start she wasn't human? Of course, just looking at bone structure makes the difference obvious. Dahlia sighed and continued. Besides, Do you think I went to rescue a human on purpose? In Marin's mind, no wonder they charged in without hesitation. I was foolish to hope their compassion had lessened. He wondered, where did a Motar go? She answered. As leader, she went to the guild to report the situation. Marin told himself the gnome princess's involvement meant the guild couldn't ignore it. From filing the report to briefing the matter, she must be busy. So, she's really an important figure? To me, she looked like an ordinary kid. Dahlia scowled and barked. How dare you talk about the gnome princess like that? The dwarves laughed heartily. I know in human eyes we're just children they don't bother with, right? The genuine Ophiura gnome princess is an adult. She is married, and even has children. Marin felt rather disappointed. She has a family? He calmly continued. In any case, thank you again. Thanks to your team, things didn't get worse. If the guard were hurt, she would be extremely worried, so I am truly relieved. Ah yes, sorry to have kept everyone waiting. Naga stepped in, voice calm. The verification procedure is complete. You may leave now. The gnome cheerfully said, to the benefactors who saved me, please tell me your names. Dahlia looked frightened, trembling. Dahlia, Marin Glace, I understand. I will never forget the names of those who saved my life. She continued. The carriage is waiting outside. Please, Princess Gnome. Yes, let's go. Farewell, benefactors. Those little red trinkets will suit you well. Little red trinkets. Dahlia finally spoke up. Where's a Motar? Naga replied. We escorted the gnome princess out first as a courtesy. There's still many things to verify, so it will take some time. Oh well, we'll just wait for a Motar. Yeah, night fell over the small town. Dahlia paced anxiously. A Motar is taking too long. Marin chimed in. Do you think something happened? Suddenly his empty stomach growled loudly. All right, I forgot. We haven't had dinner yet. She panicked slightly. What are you pulling out this time? He took out a bowl of mixed salad. What is that? A salad? It's the first time I've seen you eat only vegetables. Want some? She turned away sharply. Anyway, you did cook it for monsters, right? But it looks like just vegetables, not monsters, right? Then give me some. She used a fork to take a small piece of vegetable and brought it to her mouth. In her heart, she thought there's no way he put anything weird into salad, right? What is this? It's actually tasty. The fresh, crisp vegetables paired perfectly with a light tang. I especially like how you used oil instead of salad dressing. This is the best salad I've had since leaving the forest. It's rare to see you make something this good. By the way, what's that soft thing? It's... Marin's answer made her gasp and drop her fork. Slime. Dahlia trembled. Slime? I didn't have enough ingredients to make dessert. I planned to top it with chestnut syrup like a pudding, but things went wrong, so I chose the simplest option. Make a salad. Oh, most of the vegetables were normal market produce, so don't worry. Dahlia's face darkened. Most means there's still other things mixed in? He continued. I caught a few pinu in the dungeon, dried and crushed them, then mixed them in. They had a spicy kick and make it tasty, right? If you add too much, it'll be very spicy. So it's also handy for other dishes. She angrily grabbed his collar. You're forcing me to eat monster-made food again? What, slime? Pinu? You just said it was delicious. Why complain now? It's not like I expected you'd use those monsters. Slime is almost like an animal. What's wrong with it? I've said it many times. It's not about vegetarianism or pride. You're being human. Emotar wearily walked in. So bored. Why are you two being noisy so late at night? Emotar, you're late. What's going on? Reports, paperwork. The procedures are exhausting. Be grateful Emotar handled all that. Anyway, I have important news to tell you. Suddenly, what could be so serious? I, Emotar Ketrit Cherokee, as of today, officially rank up to B-class adventurer. What? Helion spoke up unexpectedly. So you're the messed up group that rescued the dwarf princess? Helion, vice guildmaster. The girl in the middle is a Motar? She stammered. Yes, that's right. This is your B-rank certificate. Keep it safe or you'll lose it. I hope you will continue to achieve many glorious deeds. She cried out excitedly. Finally, I ranked up to B. Just one more step to A. Dahlia cut in. Wait for me to catch up. Don't gloat yet. Dahlia, by the time you get here, I might already be a lowly A, you know. He continued. Do you guys know the fleet evaluation standard? This isn't the time to celebrate. Team rank is determined by the standard. He explained. If an official party has members of differing ranks, the team is counted at the lowest member's rank. Even though you've reached B, the other two are still C, so the team remains C. Dahlia wondered, So we have to rank up fast to become a B team. Once we hit B, we'll push up to it right away. Marin spoke up. I have something to ask. He's really troublesome, tall guy. Again? The dragon that attacked a Durama 80 years ago. Do you have any information about the gold dragon? That's before I was born, so I'm not certain. But I've heard many tales about how horrific that event was, so I know a little. Dahlia and Emotar listened attentively. Daisy would know best. She's the longest-serving staff member at this guild. Daisy spoke. I'll guide you. Thank you very much. Helion sat in the room, brooding. He kept repeating Marin's name. Mahonglas, a powerful person like him suddenly appearing out of nowhere. And he's searching for the gold dragon, too. I need to keep an eye on this case. Marin asked curiously, why are you investigating the gold dragon? She cheerfully replied, I'm the one who manages the case files. What do you want to know? The mad dragon. Its whereabouts after the attack on a Durama. Do you have any info on where the gold dragon went? Where it lives? Do you mean asking whether it was destroyed or not? At the time, the dragon was believed to have been slain by adventurers. Marin froze inwardly. Was it really killed? Marin clenched his fist, trembling as he thought, impossible. Has that mad dragon been dead for a long time? Then what about my revenge? What have I been living for all these years? Daisy spoke up, but it seems that information isn't accurate. Marin, curious, what do you mean? She continued. The records state it was destroyed, but they likely recorded that based only on the situation at the time. When it was hunted back then, a massive amount of fire magic was unleashed on the dragon. But when the flames subsided, it had vanished without a trace. So there was no corpse? Correct. As if it had never existed. And there were no further attacks. So the guild decided to record the dragon as defeated. In Marin's heart, human magic couldn't turn a dragon to ash. In other words, his face grew somber. That mad dragon is surely still alive somewhere. Is there anywhere I can look for more information? Information? Maybe the Thieves Guild can help you investigate. But currently there are no Thieves Guild branches in a drama. The nearest large guild is forgotten. They only have one branch, so they won't be moving around. A flicker of hope lit in Marin's heart. Forgotten, Daisy explained. It's a place where adventurers set up camp in the remote wilderness. However, because monster levels in the West are quite high, the guild restricts access there, and you can't even accept quests in the West unless you reach at least B rank. Thanks for telling me. If there are no more questions, I'll take my leave. Of a place dangerous enough that the guild must control entry. If we can get to the West, we should be able to find information about that mad dragon. To do that, first we have to rank up to B. A few days later, in the guild Hexalum Hall, the three, Dahlia, Emotar, and Marin, entered, anger on their faces. People whispered and buzzed. That group has come again. This is the third time today. I heard they took nearly 10 quests just last week. Thanks to them, the market is flooded with ORC and harpy goods, driving prices up. How can they do so much in such a short time without resting? She snapped irritably. Please check the quest items. Yes, please wait a moment. Dahlia sighed. Marin's eating habits sapped my morale even more than the flood of quests. I agree. Even yesterday, he tried to eat 10 different slimes and got every nasty status effect. Yet he still ate while we were wriggling around. In Marin's mind, as expected, slime salad is still the best. Dahlia continued. Not only does he not regret it, he even keeps thinking about eating monsters. Gross. Emotar, haven't you learned status curing skills yet? That seems necessary, right? The manager cheerfully spoke. Thank you for waiting while we confirmed all quest items are complete. Everyone did well. Emotar summoned a system board. So these are the promotion applications for 2 party members and the team rank up application. Dahlia exclaimed, that was fast this time. She proudly boasted, I prepared everything to submit as soon as we returned from the dungeon. Did you know? The summer festival is about to start. You're curious. The festival held every summer? Yes, it'll be lively for 2 whole weeks. Oh my, it's held annually? Why do they put so much effort into it? Perfect timing. I was planning a rest for a while. Lately we've been rushing nonstop. So let's relax at the festival. Dahlia agreed. I concur. Now we only get weekends off, Marin thought. The Sun Festival. No matter how much time passes, they keep it up, huh? He felt sad remembering the past. If he recalled correctly, he used a stroll and watched everyone's festival too. A staff member announced the messed up party's members have been verified. Could it be? Miss Dahlia and Marin have both met the promotion requirements. You may now be promoted to B rank. There's only one final procedure left. Oh my, what wonderful news. A person stepped forward, voice excited, sounding like I'm about to be surpassed. Huh? It was Anchorman. He was cheerful, and I couldn't help but feel excited. She snapped angrily. That guy again, why is he here? Dahlia scowled. What do you want this time? Isn't it enough? Want to fight? He kept on. Fight about what? I just stopped by to acknowledge your achievements. One day you'll reach a rank like me. Marin turned away, thinking it's best not to deal with a lunatic. He continued to pry. By the way, now that you're B-rank, isn't it time you showed your face for everyone to see? I've been curious for a long time. A suddenly appearing, powerful individual who seems to have fallen from the sky, and yet no one knows what your face looks like. Anchorman's face darkened, sly. From B-rank onward, you're practically a core force of the guild. If you can't reveal your face, how can anyone trust you? Dahlia yelled angrily. Don't be ridiculous. Why suddenly demand to see his face? It's none of your business. She continued. Are you still obsessed with Marin's face? Anchorman laughed broadly. Did I say something wrong? Why are you two overreacting? Emotar warned, don't touch my teammate's face. Emotar, what is it? Thinking about it. Has anyone actually seen his face? No, it's strange. Eating monsters is odd enough. A staff member hurried in apologetically as everyone talked, but the hero has a point. What did you say? So we need to record appearance and identifying features at registration. Is there no other way? Dahlia pounded her chest reassuringly. Even if I'm an elf, I can vouch for his identity. Can't that work? The clerk cut her off. Rules are rules, even if she says so. Then he turned to Marin. If public disclosure is too hard, you can just show your face to us at the front desk. What does that mean? Anchorman teased. Guild Hexalum plans to officially hide your face. A dangerous fellow. Huh? If someone dangerous has an unclear identity, don't adventurers have the right to see their face for safety? Right. That hooded guy is rumored to have targeted newbie parties before to kill them. Just because he's silent and isn't taking quests doesn't mean past offenses vanish. Hearing you mention it makes it all the more frightening. Dahlia clenched her teeth in anger. Inside, that bastard. He's trying to stir up everyone's panic. He kept provoking. If there's no reason to hide your identity, then there's no reason you can't show your face, right? Emotar turned to counsel Marin. Marin, don't listen to that scoundrel. We'll prove your identity by any means. Suddenly Marin spun away, brushing her hand aside. The two worried. Marin, are you okay? Hey, Marin. Hot tears fell from Marin's eyes onto the cold stone floor. No, he tried to hold back his tears in despair. Don't. Looking at the trembling Marin, Emotar worried. Marin, what's wrong? Dahlia added. Your reaction is really suspicious. Anchorman spread a mocking smile. At this point, you still don't want to reveal your face? I'll ask the Reporters Guild to investigate you, to see how you earned that title of teammate killer, okay? Maybe you're a dangerous criminal after all. Marin suddenly bolted outside, shocking everyone. Wait, Marin. Emotar growled angrily at Anchorman. You human scum, you dare insult my teammate? Say another word if you dare, and I'll cut off your head right now. Anchorman laughed maniacally. For people who hate humans like you, your actions aren't exactly virtuous either. Her gaze darkened. She moved to strike, but was held back by Dahlia. Dahlia, don't stop me. Enough. Emotar said, too many eyes are on us. Dahlia continued. Our team will get in trouble if you attack an adventurer. You're the team leader, so don't forget the team's goals. She protested. But Dahlia, that human bastard did that to our teammate. She sighed, I know, but not now. Marin hid trembling behind the door. His teammates matter more. You kept speeding up, wondering why you're running so fast. I know running would cause trouble for the team if I ran away, but you lost track of how long you ran and your legs grew exhausted. Marin trembled, tears of bitterness welling up. Under the hazy night, he whispered, I have to get out of here. He quietly stepped toward a pile of rubble, changed clothes, and returned to a diorama. Then silently put on his clothes. What is this? Is there something on my forehead? Could it be? Thinking that, he put the mask on. Does my face still look like a monster? Even if every member of the group is B-rank, if the application isn't approved, our team can't rank up. But if I reveal my face to everyone, you imagine the taunts and insults people would throw at me. What is that? It's obviously a monster. Are you kidding? What kind of face is that? How dare a monster enter the Adventurers Guild? Is it a shapeshifter? Catch it and call the guards immediately. Thinking of Dahlia and Emotar's terrified faces when they saw mine. If that happened, I couldn't return to the team. I'd have to leave. Suddenly a voice called out. Someone shouted your name. Marin Glace. Dahlia hurried after him, panting and threatening. If you run again, I'll shoot a tracking arrow into your leg. Let's talk for a bit. Night fell, and inside a house, Dahlia and Emotar looked at him with angry eyes. Marin just sat there, head bowed, silent. Dahlia cut through the awkwardness. I'm not blaming you for running away. Sorry. But how long do you plan to avoid this situation? Aren't you going to tell us why you won't show your face to anyone? Emotar added, at least tell us the reason. Then we can find a solution. Come on, say it. Marin trembled as he spoke. I was involved in an incident before, so I was labeled a teammate killer. Before that incident, I had never killed anyone. But since that event, I feel like my face has become disfigured into something monstrous. Since then, I've thought anyone who sees my face will react like that, like some hideous monster. So I'm afraid for my grandmother and for anyone, including you. If someone sees my face as a monster, it will cause trouble for you, my teammates. You're aiming for A rank, right? I don't want to ruin your goals. Dahlia cut him off. Wait a moment, Marin, what are you saying? Before things get worse, you'd better find a new member. She stood up, slamming the table. Don't talk nonsense. What new member? Why are you deciding this alone? Dahlia also blurted out. So all this time you treated us like we weren't important? We even accepted your human origins, you know. You stay calm. Maybe you think you wouldn't care about me. But once you see this grotesque face, you'll change your mind instantly. The two of them turned to each other, puzzled. Dahlia flopped into a chair. Being human is ugly enough, so I don't care what your face looks like. Emotar put his hand on hers. Dahlia's right. Eating monster meat is already crazy. Even if you're ugly, it's not a big deal. We don't even care that you're human. Anyway, whether that class is some hideous monster or whatever, we'll still be on the team with. Here we go again. Always like this. Though I've been betrayed and deceived by sweet words before, I still want to trust once more. So can you promise? You won't run away or scream when you see my face, right? Dahlia's voice was determined. Fine. I swear on my honor I won't do that. She added, me too. I swear on behalf of us sisters. Marin trembled as he raised his hand to the mask. Well then, you slowly remove the mask. His face left Dahlia and Emotar stunned with a touch of fright. One fine day, sunlight streamed down on the house, and everyone buzzed with gossip. Have you heard? The adventurer who ran off yesterday will show his face. Could he really be a wanted criminal? Elves and beast folk in his group are known for hating humans, so he might not even be human. Are you dumb? He carries the title of slaughterer of his own kind, so of course he's human. Anchorman sighed. All right, enough. Everyone quiet down. What if he's just an innocent commoner? Everyone applauded him at once. If the hero says so, it must be true, right? He wore a triumphant smile. Who cares about his race? The point is he's a convicted murderer. There must be a reason he hid his face and ran. If we steer public opinion, he'll be ostracized and forced to leave. That will ensure he can never return to this guild. Helion spoke up. They're blowing a small thing out of proportion. Better to spend that energy finishing the quest. Naga asked with concern. But is it okay if we set aside Marin's personal issue? The messed up group is full of promising adventurers. They're a team with great potential. Despite rumors about his past, their team spirit is strong. He tapped the table lightly. If that cohesion breaks, if he truly can't reveal himself, that's fine too. Do you know why people choose to be adventurers instead of mercenaries? Because adventurers have something called trust. Thanks to that, they're treated like living shields in wars or large dungeons. Unlike mercenaries, though their combat ability may be lower, adventurers are more versatile, handling everything from investigation to hunting, and they commit fewer crimes. So it's no wonder many mercenaries switch to adventuring, and Hexalum grew by taking advantage of that. I don't like that so-called hero either. But the title slaughterer of his own kind, the habit of eating monsters, and the identity of an anonymous strongman. There are too many reasons we can't intervene to stop that arrogant hero. We can't risk our reputation just to recruit a promising individual like Marin. She shouted. They're here. The messed up group has arrived. People murmured. How dare he show up so brazenly? Does he have no shame? If he's public now, why did he run away yesterday? A staff member asked Marin worriedly. Are you okay? You ran off earlier. So why are you appearing in front of everyone now? Marin remained silent, head bowed. A hand rested on his shoulder. Don't worry, Marin. Dahlia soothed him. We said yesterday it would be fine. Trust us. He spoke softly. All right. He trembled as he brought his hand to the mask. White hair fell out from inside the mask. With a crash, a glass cup fell and shattered on the floor. Everyone gaped in astonishment, speechless. What? Anchorman, who had been sneering moments before, thought it rude that people would react like that to someone's face, however awful it might be. But the next second they were stunned, eyes wide, for beneath the mask was Marin's handsome face. No way. Could there really be a face like that under the hood? He's human, right? It was a face no one had seen before. Where on earth did he come from? Is he really a man? He's prettier than most of the women here. Emotar was calm. It's nothing. You're overreacting. Dahlia added. Did you forget last night? Remembering last night, when Marin awkwardly took off the mask. Sorry, both Dahlia and Emotar froze. It must have looked scary. Sorry for letting everyone see such a grotesque face. She stepped forward and snatched the mask away, then hurled it forcefully forward. Marin felt utterly bewildered. Emotar, she spoke, trembling. You. She turned and shot him a sharp look. If you dare trick others by hiding behind that again, I'll smash your lousy head in. Marin touched his face. Is it really that awful? What the? Awful? You call this awful? You bastard. Dahlia rushed to intervene. Emotar, I know you're angry, but please calm down. With a face like that, why would you think you look like a monster? Marin explained. Sometimes memories of that incident make me dazed. My memories are so chaotic, I can't even recall what my face looked like then. Sometimes remembering that event makes me absent-minded. My memories are so jumbled that even looking in a mirror, that horrific obsession makes me terrified to face my own appearance. In his mind, what if someone recognized him? He might even be summoned back to the royal court. Back in the present, Dahlia and Emotar scolded those teasing Marin. Hey kid, what are you staring at? Seen enough? Then scram, rude lot. You dare compare our teammate to ordinary people. That reaction is exactly the arrogant human attitude we loathe. You just glanced and made a fuss? How stingy. What does the hero think? Where's the hero? He was standing right here a moment ago, in a quiet alley. Anchorman angrily punched the wall. How dare you? Dare to look down on me? A so-called hero? Someone stepped forward and barked. What the hell are you doing? Rude enough to smash a wall like that. Judging by your outfit, you must be rolling in coin. Huh? Come on, hand over all your money. One swipe from Anchorman sent that person packing on the spot. Why is he hiding his face under that helm? Even if he's shunned for being a slaughterer of his own kind. He gritted his teeth. So that's it. This was a trap he set for me from the start. After stealing my title as the first to conquer that dungeon, now he wants to destroy my heroic status and reputation too? You worthless wretch crawled off, and a figure in black appeared behind him. Has my lord hero finished his task? He turned with a composed smile. Time to return to the capital at once. And remember to take care of that thing as well. Some lunatic dared swing a sword at my hero? Understood. We'll have the carriage ready as soon as we clean this up. Ah, so I see your dark scheme now. You want to steal my glorious, flawless fame, don't you? I'll show you what happens when you dare oppose a true hero. You'll certainly regret it. Mahonglas, at the New Sun Festival, is a traditional festival in Adurama, held when the land and sky turn to spring. Lively music on the outermost stage and dances lost in the dazzling golden sunlight. It's also famous for countless Adurama specialties, the shopping hub and most prosperous center of the region. Bottoms up, Emotar, someone shouted excitedly. We've had a hard time lately. Now it's time to eat and drink to our heart's content. Dahlia was puzzled when she saw Marin staring at the food without saying anything. And hey, why does your face look like that? She was curious. Could it be because earlier everyone treated him like a store mannequin in the clothing shop? This one really suits you. Try it on. What about pairing it with this jacket? Forcing someone to change clothes nonstop for 3 hours is a bit much. Dahlia? You look possessed. That's scary. Marin glanced at the shopping bags behind them. I don't need this many clothes. Dahlia snapped. What? You think I'll leave you wearing those ragged clothes down there forever? With that face, you have a duty to dress more presentably. She sighed. I totally agree, Marin. You should wear something decent. Marin's cheeks warmed inwardly. Why does it feel like I'm the one at fault? Come to think of it, How long has it been since I took my helmet off to stroll the streets? Everyone cheered at once when they looked at Marin. That guy's so handsome. Let me see, she continued. After all, it's a festival. You should take the chance to learn fashion sense from Dahlia. She snapped when she saw Marin take the mask. Hey, why are you covering your face? Open it now, or the wine will get flat and taste bad, Dahlia added. It took a lot of effort to do the makeup. Now you're hiding it? I am shy. He's gotten used to wearing that rusty helmet for so long, so he needs time to get used to it. Dahlia comforted Marin that he'll get used to it. Don't worry. With that face, you can be proud standing in front of anyone. The song began. Old Lucky is drunk. Old Lucky drinks beer and snores away. Red nose, wild beard completely plastered. Old Lucky drinks beer and snores away. Old Lucky drinks beer and snores away. The little girl in my dream. Dance with me. You remember the day the nun once asked you, Marin, why are you just standing there and not dancing? You answered, I don't know how to dance. Then the nun reached out her hand to you. It's okay. The nun's kind, cheerful face looked at you. Festivals are for everyone to enjoy. You don't have to be skilled. Just let yourself go with the music. Come on, let's dance. The nun pulled you along to play with the children. Old Lucky drinks beer and snores away. Red nose, wild beard completely plastered. She was curious. Marin, what are those people doing? You replied, it seems to be a nursery rhyme, and they're dancing to its tune. Dancing? Looks fun. Shall we try it? Dahlia sighed. Why should we imitate those humans? Only you know this. Marin, teach us. I don't dance well. It's okay. Festivals are for everyone to enjoy, right? I don't know about a drama, but that's how it is in my hometown. Marin felt a sense of familiarity hearing those words. Hurry up. The music's almost over. Wait, don't pull me. Emotar tossed Marin's mask aside. If you want to dance, you got to take this off. The children turned to him, beaming happily. That guy is so handsome. Dance with us, please. You're too pretty. A century-long emptiness I never noticed is starting to fill up. Which delicious dish should I try tomorrow? Everyone praised Marin in unison. The guy dancing over there is really handsome. Marin, why are your dance moves so awkward? I told you don't know how to dance. Hey, group messed up. Daisy hurried over. So that's where everyone was. I searched everywhere. We're just pausing our mission to take a break here. Daisy couldn't stop praising. Oh my, Marin, besides the armor, your everyday clothes really suit you. Marin shyly covered his face. Dahlia was exasperated. She'd already seen it, so why hide it? It's not urgent, but I have something to give everyone. What is it? Give the promised reward to the informant, and prepare a carriage and a splendid gown for me as well. A mysterious space appeared, a hand quietly washing feet. The woman seated in the center looked powerful. Did she whisper something? The other exclaimed, very well. The man spoke up. My lady, I have located the place, and even have a portrait of the person you requested. The woman smiled cheerfully. Oh my, that was efficient. Let me see it. A gem was brought forward. The girl lightly touched it, and Marin's face appeared instantly. Finally found. Wonderful. Actually, there's a special mission reserved just for your group. A special mission? I will go there myself, to the place where he is, to the north of the continent, a highland where rugged mountain ranges stretch endlessly. But even on this barren land, people still live. The wooden wagon wheel stopped, and a voice called out, We've arrived, please disembark. Those on the wagon slowly stepped down. Marin and his teammates looked ahead and wondered. So this is it? In the mining village of Tyrek, Emotar's small ears suddenly caught a sound. Dahlia. Both she and Dahlia clutched their heads and grimaced. What's that crashing metal noise? My ears are going to bleed. Emotar glanced toward the blazing forge. Furnaces burned everywhere, the air thick with soot and smoke. It's hard to breathe. Dahlia was curious. A mining village full of blacksmiths? The two were driven mad by the noise. Just after the festival, they had to come to the northern continent to work. I want to rest a bit longer. Who is it anyway? Who sends a private request right after we just reached rank B? Marin quietly read the paper in his hand. Personal requests are a privilege reserved for high nobility. Morgano Goldworks. Never heard of them. Are they rich enough to place personal requests? Besides, after our promotion, we barely got any rest. We're not that famous. Don't tell me they're going to ask something unreasonable. You lead the way to a spot and look up. According to the map, this should be the place. A large house emanated a mysterious presence. Emotar raised a hand and knocked a few times on the wooden door. Excuse me, is anyone there? We're the messed up group, but the thunderous clamor of the forge drowned them out, and there was no reply. She was starting to lose patience. I'll knock harder so they'll hear us. Dahlia hurriedly stopped him. Don't. If the door breaks, who pays for it? Emotar flailed. How else are we supposed to call them with all this noise? Dahlia stood beside him trying to counsel. Keep knocking, someone will surely open. Or just push the door and walk in. Suddenly, Marin noticed a small square beside the door. That definitely looks like a doorbell. He reached out and pressed the blue diamond-shaped gem in the center. Emotar blinked. Marin, what did you just do? He pointed to the square and replied, There's a button by the door, so I tried pressing it. At that moment, the door opened. Who is it? An old dwarf appeared. He looked at them and said, Elf, beastkin, and human. You're the messed up group, right? We've been expecting you. Please come inside. After inviting the three in, the dwarf told them, Please wait here. She will come out shortly. Emotar bowed, coughed shyly, and honestly said, This was more complicated than necessary. We nearly broke. A voice answered unexpectedly. This technology isn't commercially available yet. Sorry for the inconvenience. A gnome stepped out with a smudged face. Thank you for answering my summons. The honest folk who saw her couldn't help but be amazed. Is that the gnome lady? Dahlia and Emotar quickly prostrated. Lady Gnome, why would you summon lowly folk like us? We're honored and will serve with all our hearts. The gnome waved a hand and laughed. I told you not to be so formal. Sit comfortably and let's chat. Shortly after, a pot of hot tea was brought up. The gnome slowly sipped a cup of tea. Emotar carefully asked, Lady Gnome, why did you call us here? She said seriously, I called you to gather materials for weapon crafting. Upon investigation, I discovered Hexalim allows placing direct requests here. That's when I learned about personal requests, and among the groups that can be assigned, I saw a familiar name, so I called you. Hearing this, Emotar and Dahlia were moved to tears. Lady Gnome remembers our names? I, Dahlia, am truly deeply honored. You also asked directly, by the way, didn't you return to your homeland recently? Why are you in a human village? Her voice lowered as she explained, I wanted to learn an important technique. As you know, we dwarves have spent our lives researching forging techniques. Because of that, we possess weapon technologies unmatched by other nations. But because we focused so much on that, other techniques were neglected and gradually declined. With the Demon King approaching, storms grow fiercer. Yet our people at home are obsessed with making weapons. Meanwhile, quality of life hasn't improved. This can't be called true development. But recently, I discovered a marvelous technique in the human kingdoms. An extremely important technique that we dwarves must admire. Dahlia, upon hearing this, asked curiously, what is it? Dwarves, the pinnacle of technology, learning from humans? The gnome cupped her hands under her chin, looking mysterious. It is. When she revealed the answer, her face turned very serious. Cooking. Before the three faces turned pale in shock, the gnome continued, I'm genuinely amazed by human cuisine. From cookware to every method of processing ingredients, humans have developed incredible techniques. Culinary techniques have decayed almost to the point of vanishing, forgotten in favor of forging. Craftsmen think that as long as you can swing a hammer well, food doesn't matter. She squeezed her hands tighter and decided then and there. The gnome declared with resolve that she would not return to her homeland until she had learned enough cooking techniques to satisfy herself. If you are willing, tell me about your culinary culture as well. After finishing her statement, she softened. Now that personal matters are settled, Marin bowed his head low, looking gloomy. A second later, he suddenly turned around and brightened up. Before they left, the gnome cautioned, Listen carefully to the details and notes about my request. Emotar replied, Yes, understood. Cut to the night dungeon. Emotar cried, It's pitch dark. I told you to bring lamps. Dahlia reminded Emotar, Light it up. She raised her arm, and immediately a dazzling beam of light appeared. Bright, golden orbs hovered around her, making everything visible. Dahlia read the list of items to find. What we need is a special mineral, white with red flecks, and the femur bone of a monster found in this dungeon. Emotar peered inside. There were no minerals or monsters nearby. She checked the map and said we must go deeper, probably over there. Marin, helmet on, wondered which monster would taste good. What do dwarves dislike eating? If this is about rescuing the dwarves' dying culinary culture, they probably won't be picky about monster meat like humans, so long as it looks appetizing. The two glanced at him and muttered, "Marin, he only thinks about shoving stuff into mouths. If a gnome lady eats that, our heads will roll." They both agreed they must stop him from bringing back monster meat at all costs. Imotar vowed to first change his mind. Suddenly she pointed and shouted, "There's the mineral over there." Dahlia inspected carefully. "This color isn't the kind we need. It seems what we seek isn't here." Imotar suggested they go further inside. Suddenly Dahlia's sharp ears caught an unexpected sound. "Wait, what was that?" Imotar tensed. "Something's approaching. Where is it?" Suddenly a portion of earth collapsed onto her. Dahlia shouted, "Imotar." After a moment, when things settled, she helped Imotar up. "Are you okay?" She stammered, "I'm fine, but look over there." Dahlia also looked where Imotar pointed and startled. It was, before them a hulking monster stood, a catoblepus. A level 40 catoblepus appeared, fierce and menacing. It roared loudly and lunged forward. Marin calmly assessed the situation. Its level wasn't high. So many adventurers are careless. But the real danger is the single eye on its head. If one unfortunate faces that gaze directly, their body will turn to stone instantly. Dahlia hid behind a rock and shouted, "Ready?" "Marin, stick to the plan. He will restrain it. We charge." Immediately after, he closed his eyes and pierced through. The catoblepas will be easy to catch if you neutralize that eye. Destroy it and both of you will be safe. Suddenly, a sharp horn jabbed straight toward Marin. He was slammed and sent flying by the catoblepas. Imotar and Dahlia cried out in panic, Marin, are you okay?" Marin decisively grabbed one of its horns, braced his toes hard against the ground, his whole body trembling as he resisted the catoblepas. Seeing that, Imotar and Dahlia quickly reacted. "Right now, let's rush in too. Just hold on a bit longer." Suddenly, Marin leaned back a little. Then he used his strength to smash his iron helm straight into its forehead. The other two twitched at the corners of their mouths. "Hey, leave the rest to us." "Marin, that's enough." The catoblepas let out a roar and spat a spray of green liquid. The stuff splashed onto Marin's helmet. The helm fell off, but he only murmured a little. "Well, the iron helmet's broke." Imotar reached out and picked the helmet up. She turned and smiled at him. "It's fine. Now you have an excuse to ditch that clunky lump of metal." Marin tilted his head awkwardly, but without the helmet he felt uneasy. In that moment, Imotar was knocked out by that face. She clutched her head and moaned, staring at that face, feeling an awful guilt. "What did I do wrong?" Imotar turned and asked, "Dahlia, do you think it's normal to look at Marin like that?" She stammered, "Oh well, thinking about him taking down the monster alone." Dahlia said that no matter his face, he's the same inside. No matter how handsome, that's still a bit much. Imotar nodded too. "Yeah, that's true." She glanced at Marin, thinking who would have guessed someone with that face would eat monsters. Meanwhile, he was still examining the catoblepa's parts. "I'll prepare enough portions now and store the rest." Its charge was strong, so the hind leg should be tasted. Very quickly, the huge body was reduced to a large slab of meat. Imotar and Dahlia were still startled. "Why do you keep shoving weird things into your mouth? It smells dangerous. Are you really going to eat it?" Marin poured a little liquid over the meat. "Catoblepa's blood is extremely toxic, so I'll soak it with an antidote to detoxify it. Then cut it into bite-sized pieces to eat in one go." Raw catoblepa's meat looks pretty suspicious. He lifted a piece to inspect. It was softer and moister than he expected. He thought the hind leg would be as tough as harpy meat. Dahlia warned him, "Hey, Marin, did you forget catoblepa's blood is highly poisonous?" He replied calmly, "It's fine, I soaked it in antidote." Imotar expressed revulsion. Antidote or not, it doesn't look edible. Marin paid no mind and popped a piece into his mouth. Maybe it's sweet like fruit, who knows? The moment he tasted it, he was surprised. Marin was lost in the flavor. It tasted like beef, but the texture was like fish, with marbled fat running through the flesh, like freshly caught salmon. He hadn't expected the new experience to be so wonderful. Melting on the tongue without much chewing, it was surprisingly tender. With meat like this, it would make a fantastic steak. Seeing his expression, Imotar softened a little. "Dangerous, looks delicious, but it's still not something you should eat." Dahlia hurriedly warned, "Don't be fooled. Imotar, don't fall for that face." She looked at his satisfied face. Anything looks tasty on that face. Dahlia shivered. That kind of attractive power is terrifying. Marin continued to cut more. "I'll roast the rest." It's odd that a monster's meat would taste like fish. Suddenly, his complexion went pale. Blood trickled from the corner of Marin's mouth. "You're poisoned." Seeing him collapse, Imotar ran over. "Knew it." She detoxed him while scolding, "You idiot. Didn't you study?" Marin trembled all over. That toxin is strong. An ordinary antidote may not be enough. Suddenly, he looked up and saw a status panel. It read that a new passive skill, pain resistance, reduces sensitivity to pain and improves endurance. It grants a chance to resist pain status and lowers the chance of fainting because it mitigates pain. After he felt better, Marin turned to her, "Thank you, Imotar. More importantly, I just gained this skill." Imotar was surprised. "Pain resistance?" Dahlia sighed helplessly and explained that the guild record already lists that skill. Everyone has it. To get it, you just need to self-inflict enough real pain. He froze at that. "So all my monster eating counts as self-harm?" Imotar clenched her fist, surprised now. Do you know why I had to learn to spell magic for statuses?" Dahlia quickly changed the subject. "If that's settled, get up. We're heading back to or hunting." Then the three returned home. "We're back. You came back early? Put your things here." The same dwarf greeted them. "The gnome lady is busy with important matters. Please wait a moment." Imotar sat with her legs crossed. Mission finished quickly, but the workshop is boring. So boring. While she sulked, she suddenly smelled something. "Hey, we haven't eaten yet." "That smell is..." They looked at a golden plate of fried chicken on the table and exclaimed in surprise. "Is that crispy harpy?" Dahlia scolded sternly. "Are you crazy? Dare to bring such ill-omened stuff into the gnome lady's workshop?" Marin replied calmly. Like Imotar said, "We're starving, haven't eaten a thing." Imotar, also hungry, defended them vigorously. The gnome lady said she won't return for a while. So long as she doesn't notice, it's fine. Eat quickly before you get caught. Seeing him raise a piece, her mouth watered profusely. Marin pushed the plate toward Imotar. "Want to share? You're craving it but still pretending. If you beg like that, I'll reluctantly accept." The moment she bit a piece, Imotar went crazy with delight. Delicious. The batter melts in your mouth. Savory seasoning, tender sweet meat, with an irresistible chew. Dahlia trembled with anger. "Imotar, you traitor." She startled and protested. "I had no choice. We have to finish it before the gnome lady returns." As soon as the name was mentioned, she appeared. What are you planning to finish before I get back?" Seeing the plate, the gnome asked. "I was gone a long time, and you got hungry? What is that dish?" Both of them stammered. "And no, honor gnome lady, there's nothing here." She of course didn't believe them. "Or did you two cook it yourselves?" Imotar hastily denied it. "Not at all. We'd never eat such a grotesque thing." But the gnome wouldn't let it go. She spread her hands. "Now I'm even more curious. Give me a piece of that." Imotar and Dahlia froze like statues. She said with eager anticipation, "Is that human culinary culture? I can't wait any longer." Imotar and Dahlia hurriedly refused the gnome's request. "Lady Gnome, you mustn't eat that disgusting thing. Please, I beg you, revoke the order. To let your noble mouth taste something so common would be." Her whole body instantly drooped. How insolent. "O children of the sun and the world tree, can any of you stand in the way of my desires?" The two of them trembled at once. "And no, it's not us. We wouldn't dare oppose the Lady Gnome's will." Ignoring their protests, the gnome reached for a drumstick and decisively shoved it into her mouth. Immediately after, the gnome's eyes suddenly widened. She lavished praise on the dish. Crispy on the outside, warm and tender inside, each bite releases juicy flavors that fill the mouth along with the meat's natural sweetness. Then the richness of the fat blends perfectly with the seasoning. This flavor even surpasses the dinner I once had with a certain count. Marin was quite surprised too. Would a human noble who has tasted every delicacy really heap such praise on monster cuisine? The gnome asked curiously. "I've been entertained by nobility before. So what meat is this from? Maybe goose wing, duck, suckling pig, like the ones humans raise?" She insisted on knowing. "Tell me, what meat is this?" Imotar stammered. Pitch that is, the gnome demanded sternly. I said, tell me now, where did you get such a delicacy? In the end, she had to force out the words, harpy meat. The gnome pressed, harpy? Among the birds humans raise, is there a breed called harpy? Emotar trembled and explained, no, it's meat from a monstrous bird called a harpy, a species with a humanoid face. At that, the gnome fell silent. Harpy meat. The soldiers behind her wanted to rush forward. The lady gnome had been so kind to you, they shouted angrily. And yet you dared to feed her that disgusting thing? This insolence is unforgivable. Bring the healers to examine the lady gnome immediately. She may be poisoned. Marin raised his hand and said, I removed all the toxins during preparation, so it should be safe. The two dwarves interrogated. You cooked that disgusting thing? We'll escort you to the capital for execution. Suddenly the gnome gestured and said, no, I'm fine, stand down. They tried to stop me, but I ate it of my own accord. It's not their fault, so I'll pardon them. But this is made from harpy meat, which astonishes me. Even knowing the ingredient, I cannot deny its exquisite flavor. The gnome asked curiously, would other monsters also taste this good if prepared this way? Marin answered honestly, no, many aren't edible. It's not like all are as good as harp. She propped her chin, seriously considering whether this cooking method could make monster meat tastier than livestock. This is worth researching. We should start by classifying edible monsters and determining which can be detoxified. Suddenly the gnome remembered something important and said, I heard your weapons were broken when you completed my request. He replied, yes. Then she announced, not only did you deliver the items I requested superbly, you also let me taste this rare delicacy. As a special favor, I will personally forge new weapons for all of you. At those words, Emotar and Dahlia were stunned. What? The lady herself, personally? Unbelievable, what an honor. But she added a condition. From now on, I want you to teach me everything about monster cuisine. Hearing that, the two of them turned to Marin with tense looks. He calmly accepted. At your command, my lady. Yes, Lady Gnome. Cut to the guild house. Daisy announced happily, the request has been confirmed. Congratulations on completing the quest. Emotar and Dahlia were ecstatic. The Lady Gnome herself will forge our gear. This can't be real, can it? In 116 years as an elf, I've never been this honored. She turned and sighed, looking at Marin. About that, a small drop of green potion fell onto the slab of meat. He worked intently while explaining, the gnome girl is interested in monster cuisine, right? That's why I'm researching it. Dahlia choked on the words. But, she shouted, don't bring that disgusting thing out in public. Marin replied, but I need to test the antidote rate right now. Suddenly Daisy remembered something. Marin, I have news about your previous request. There are only a few requests left on the Western continent. Are you interested? He wondered aloud. But didn't they say the West is a restricted area? Can a newly be-ranked team even go there? She answered, of course. Daisy added that the Lady Gnome was very pleased the team completed the quest. She even wrote a recommendation letter for the messed-up team. Thanks to that, the team's reputation with the guild shot up. So finally we can investigate that mad dragon. Marin asked carefully, should we decide now? She smiled softly. These requests are first come, first served, so the sooner the better. Hearing that, he glanced at Emotar and Dahlia, but he hadn't heard their opinions yet. Marin stepped forward to ask them. Dahlia, Emotar, what do you think? About the dragon I'm looking for. I heard a guild in the West has information on it. He laid out everything clearly. If you both agree, I want to head west. Suddenly Marin was cut off. Why ask at all? It turned out Emotar and Dahlia didn't make a big deal of it like he thought. You don't have to be so cautious about every little thing. It ties into your stated goal, right? Besides, taking high-rank requests will level us up faster. Finally, Emotar cheered and declared, then our next request is west. Marin replied softly, thanks Dahlia and Emotar. Daisy pulled out the request board. All right, I'll register team messed up to accept the Western Continent request. When Dahlia nudged him, hey look, they looked toward the crowd gathering. What's going on? The guild gate is so noisy. Someone looked through the window. What's that? It was below on the street. A line of horse-drawn carriages was passing by. Everyone buzzed. So many attendants. Is some noble arriving? A girl stepped down from one of the carriages. At long last, she has arrived. The one who brings new treasures to me. Bonita, de Demardoa. Her arrival made everyone even more curious. Could the great Demardoa noble house, whose lands are among the continent's top 5 wealthiest, really be here? Naga hurried forward and bowed respectfully. Countess, you have suddenly arrived for some matter? If you tell us, we'll prepare seating and attend to it immediately. But Bonita only threw back a cold glance. Stand aside. You commoners, today I have no business with. Seeing her approach, the 3 of them mumbled. That noble seems to be heading our way. What would a noble want with us? Sure enough, she stood directly before him. Bonita evaluated him without courtesy. Seeing him in person made him even more magnificent. You are worth even more than I imagined. She reached out and lightly stroked a lock of his hair, her eyes sparkling as if they contained a treasury of starry brilliance. His snow-white hair gleaming like the finest silk. Are you the embodiment of pure beauty? Marin thought to himself silently. This situation feels oddly familiar. Dahlia was the first to speak up. Hey, human, what do you think you're doing? Charging in here like that? Suddenly the woman raised her voice. I have decided, Bonita declared. You unparalleled creature of perfection. I will take you to a place worthy of that face. Be mine. Imotar, who had been silent until now, prepared to rush forward. Are you insane? Marin is not an object. Suddenly a group of people appeared to block them. They were furious, but could do nothing. These people, Bonita covered her mouth and smiled lightly. All right then, leave this shabby place. Marin remained silent from beginning to end. Imotar and Dahlia tried to stop Bonita's actions. Marin, who on earth is this person? Is he someone you know? You only held your head and sighed. No, not someone I know, but I already understand what's happening. Once a noble suddenly told me to become theirs simply because they found my face pretty, and she went on to compliment me. Your voice is lovely too. I'll make an exception and let you use the finest room in my mansion. Imotar grew angrier by the moment. How dare someone take him without permission? Marin is not a slave. Suddenly her expression changed. How dare a lowly person speak so insolent? Don't forget the main reason I haven't wiped out your noisy lot is because you are companions of this handsome man. And you just said not a slave? No way. Look at those people over there. They all became mine for the same reason as you. And they're living happy days. I'm nothing like those swine who force young, beautiful men and women in their territories to toy with and discard when bored. Even though they're in their prime, I always pay a worthy price and never use cruel violence. If you become mine, I guarantee you'll live without worrying about bread and butter. I even pay several times more than a normal maid's wage. Beautiful things deserve to live in silk and satin. Marin narrowed his eyes slightly. Try to recall. Why do I feel like I've heard this offer somewhere before? You suddenly blurted out a question. Could there be someone named Mesh in your ancestry? Hearing that, she became more excited. Oh, you even know my grandfather. It seems you understand the nobility well. Once confirmed, Marin remembered that figure. Of course I know him. Their methods have always been exactly the same. Bonita urged. Hurry up. Let's go. In the carriage I'll slowly hear your wishes. Unexpectedly, Marin bluntly said, I refuse. She didn't understand. Your only job is for me to admire your beautiful face when I'm tired. But you still refuse. I don't want that. Bonita hadn't given up. Days of feasting on delicacies, exotic dishes, and I'll provide luxury baths, comfortable beds, and perfumed oils every day. Marin kept the same answer. Thank you, but I don't need it. This time she panicked. You can freely do as you like and still receive gold allowances. You calmly replied, Nonetheless, I still refuse. Bonita's hand clenched so hard it trembled. Why is that? She ground her teeth. You adventurers. In the end, what is it that makes you so determined to refuse? I am not using my noble status to force you. Before, that anchorman fellow, a hero with decent looks, used the excuse of saving the world or some important duty and refused me with strange reasons. Bonita suddenly showed a dangerous smile. If it comes to this, even if I have to turn him into a slave, I'll definitely add him to my collection. Amid the room, full of onlookers, the magic orb detected a bad omen. Over there it seemed rather noisy. What's happening? Helion replied. It seems there's a bit of commotion going on. Meanwhile, Bonita was still plotting. Judging by the reactions of those companions, they'll resist if I force him away. If I pretend to be attacked and get into a scuffle, I can easily frame them as criminals enslaving someone. A giant bear of a man stepped closer to Mary. Seeing that, Dahlia immediately shouted, "Humans truly never change. I won't let you have your way." Your hand clenched. You told yourself, "I don't want to cause trouble, but fine. Since she's a noble, I'll restrain my force as much as possible." Just then, a voice cut in, "Allow me to interrupt your conversation." Helion spoke up in warning. Even if she's a countess, causing a scene over personal matters like this makes people uncomfortable. She covered her mouth and sneered. Causing a scene? It's just a bit of squabbling during the collection of an artwork. He raised the orb. "Someone wishes to meet you." "Countess, please speak with him directly." Immediately after, the figure of a gnome appeared. Bonita's face went pale with shock. "You are." Everyone there was equally stunned. "A gnome lord?" She spoke first. "A face I haven't seen before. I am the daughter of Tatacha, the gold master Hafiyura gnome." Bonita performed a formal curtsy. "Iam Countess Bonita de Dimardua." "Greetings, Miss Gnome." Then the gnome began her lecture. "Bonita, you're the one who built that art gallery? It's indeed very beautiful. I don't dislike those who appreciate art. However, I never imagined a countess would go so far as to place a living creature in a glass display case of hers. People are born of parents, not to be raised like bonsai. Humanity's true value shines when they are free to pursue their dreams, not imprisoned. Moreover, these people are my precious benefactors. Try to take them without respecting their wishes." Bonita was rattled. "No, I was only proposing a rightful reward." That remark offended the gnome. "Are you planning to start a diplomatic incident with me?" She hurried to backpedal. "I absolutely did not mean that." Secretly, she wondered why a common adventurer would be protected by a gnome. In the end, Bonita changed her mind. "You, handsome fellow, I will specially respect your opinion, but at least let me paint your portrait." However, Marin still refused. "I don't like it. It feels like I'm being turned into a specimen." She pouted and replied, "What? If I can't even have a portrait, I won't leave." The gnome advised, "Calm down. To thank you for respecting these people, I will craft a gold handwork item myself to give you." Bonita was surprised. A handcrafted piece made by the young lady herself? She gave a gentle smile. "Of course." Then Bonita snapped her fingers. "With that condition, fine." Saying that, she led her entourage away. "Everyone's here. Let's go home." Emotar and Dahlia hurried over to check on you. "Marin, are you all right?" Meanwhile, Bonita hadn't truly given up and thought to herself, "Remember this. No matter how sparkling that commoner's gem is, it will still stand out in a crowd. Surely one day he will set foot in the capital. When that time comes, in the name of the noble Dimardua family, I will certainly make him mine." Helion said to the gnome, "Thank you for your help, Miss Gnome." She replied, "I'm glad everything was resolved smoothly. I'll return to my duties and will contact the guild master." Marin spoke to express gratitude. "Thank you for saving us, Deputy Guild Master." But he paid it no mind. Thank the young gnome instead. Being stuck between high-ranking types is the thing I hate most. After that incident, Emotar and Dahlia considered it best to head west quickly before other trouble struck. "Yes, with a face like yours, who knows what calamity awaits? Or should I wear my helmet like before? No, that's a waste. Absolutely not." Naga, overhearing, warned especially, "If you intend to go west, please be careful. The situation there is quite complicated." She asked, "Is there a problem?" Naga said, "The Dogalmus Relic Shrine dungeon the guild requested is a trap-type dungeon. It requires deep knowledge of traps and high technical skill. So a specialist team was initially sent to investigate. But they had a serious accident inside the dungeon and still haven't regained consciousness, which led to this recruitment. I know the team messed up. You have skill, but you should be very cautious in that dungeon. It's a place where a single mistake in the blink of an eye can lead to tragedy." They looked at each other with some concern. "Is it really that bad? The West truly is different. Looks like we need to prepare very carefully." Marin silently stroked his chin. "The Dogalmus Relic Shrine. If I remember correctly, that place really has a lot of traps, but the difficulty should still be manageable. If they formed a trap specialist team, there's no reason they should have been wiped out like that." He thought to himself, How strange. Meanwhile, in a gloomy place, a steely voice rang out. Before long, the Monster King will descend upon this land. The blood of the fools who refuse to submit to him will flow like rivers. We will offer up putrid flesh to form a body for the great demon lord. The crowd below chanted mindlessly, Iterum, Iterum. He kept brainwashing everyone. The demon lord's chief lieutenant spoke up. When he descends, we must help the comrades who have gone astray. That is why we must keep advancing forward. We will rescue comrades taken by the faithless, those who presume to own this barren land. When the new era comes, all of us will become the righteous roots and mercy of this land. Iterum, once more, strive to purge the pure blackness of the demon lord. We must seek out and eradicate all the filthy white things of this world. He shouted, asking them to pray that our martyrdom for the faith not be in vain. The day's flock followed along, led by the nose. Adok moniterum, iterum iterum. The western continent, the Lort wastelands, a parched and desolate land. It is so dry and bleak that not a single living creature can be seen. Yet explorers kept flocking to this desert. Someone glanced back at the group and said, "We're almost there. In a moment, we'll see the dungeon." Imotar panted, "It's so hot, I'm going to die. I didn't expect it to be this hot." She slumped on the camel's back. "We shouldn't have come here. We should have let that suppression team handle it." Dahlia frowned. "Complaining now is pointless," Imotar said. Suddenly he guessed, "I don't think that expert team will be back on their feet soon." Dahlia was surprised. She had heard it was just a minor accident. He began to recount. Well, it was indeed an accident during the raid, but it seemed the traps that team had scouted beforehand suddenly activated according to an entirely different pattern. The whole team was severely injured or unconscious and needed time to recover. But if we leave that dungeon while monsters are increasing, it's possible the dungeon structure has changed as monsters spilled out, so we can't be careless. He continued to explain, "This is a trap-and-mine type dungeon, so progress will be slow, but we have the guild's guidebook that compiled all the trap information they gathered, so don't worry. I'll give it to you when we reach the entrance." However, Imotar still wondered, isn't that the same group that gathered information and then fell into a coma because of the traps? Dahlia, standing nearby, answered conveniently, "Well, in trap-type dungeons accidents happen all the time, even in cleared areas." She added that the investigation dragged on, and surplus monsters could have triggered traps or altered the layout. The two of them kept exchanging thoughts. Come to think of it, he'd heard of dungeons whose very terrain changed. Could the number of monsters have increased, even while we were en route? This time Marin spoke up. "According to the guild's last inspection, it was fine," Imotar replied. "Then we better hurry." Cut to inside the dark dungeon. A human head wrapped in cloth fell to the ground. Imotar tensely watched the battlefield. No matter how many of these guys they killed, they wouldn't run out. The guidebook said the monsters were still under control, yet there were heaps of them already. Suddenly a streak of light flashed right past her. The mummy behind her immediately plunged to the ground. Dahlia called the actions. The guild matters can be dealt with later. For now, focus on the dungeon. Imotar cheerfully replied, "Okay, thanks." Marin had swapped to a new iron helm for battle. He thought to himself that because they had to rush to this dungeon, the gear was bought in haste, but it was still better than the old set. I wonder when our new equipment will be finished. Earlier the gnome had said to leave the broken gear here. We'll melt it down and use it as secondary material when forging the new set. All right, Marin asked precisely. Any idea on completion time? She gave a reassuring smile. This is equipment for my benefactors. I can't do it sloppily. It will take some time, so when it's done I'll summon you back. The three fought and held their ground. After all, just as Imotar feared, the number of monsters had become absurdly high, not due to bad intel from the guild. If everything matched the information, the raid wouldn't have dragged on like this. Something's wrong, Dahlia shouted. They're just swarming in. Could there be no way out of this room? Imotar. She hurriedly flipped the floor map, looking at the patterns on the tiles. It said if we move while only avoiding the tiles with blue patterns, we'll be safe. Then handle those who come near and push them back. Imotar looked down at the floor patterns. Now that she thought about it, those blue panels' function seemed to be. Suddenly she noticed the number of mummies increasing. Oh no, they're charging from behind. She leaned in beside Marin. Since when did there get so many? As I said, take them down one by one when they get close. The three stood shoulder to shoulder, supporting each other, when suddenly her expression turned to astonishment. It turned out Marin had thrust his body straight forward. Emotar cried out in panic, "Wait, it said not to step on that color." Right after, the mummies were all destroyed. Emotar and Dahlia were astonished. What the heck just happened? The trap only hit the monsters, and with uncanny precision. Marin barked orders. "No time to be stunned. We'll break the encirclement like this." He stamped his boot hard on a patterned tile. The scene repeated itself. The trap again only caught the monsters. Next, it was Dahlia's turn to step on a tile, and the mummies immediately fell into a deep pit. Time passed, and everything grew quiet. The three exhaled in relief. It seemed we had escaped from there. Just now we nearly went through hell. Dahlia wondered, "But Marin, how did you control that trap?" "You moved as if you'd known exactly how each trap activates and where they lie." Emotar was also curious. "Did you secretly gather extra trap information before coming here without telling us?" She retorted, "But who would sell info that's not even in the guild's data?" But Marin revealed a shocking bit. That place had been cleared 100 years ago. The two were surprised. "What did you say? 100 years?" He stroked his chin thoughtfully. "I find it strange. Why is a dungeon that was cleared treated as if it were never cleared?" Emotar was puzzled. 100 years? What are you talking about?" Suddenly he spun around. "Right? I only told Dahlia earlier that I'm about the same age as you two." She shouted, "Do you really think I'll believe that nonsense?" Dahlia sighed in exasperation. "It's surprising you can say such nonsense with a straight face." Emotar only cared about the main point. "So Marin knows how to handle this whole dungeon, right?" Marin chose his words carefully. "I roughly know how it goes," and Dahlia should nod along. "To be honest, the fact that you know this is pretty suspicious, but right now you're basically the key. We need to clear this dungeon." She flashed a sly smile. "You'd better take responsibility." Emotar was equally excited and told them to spill everything they knew to the last detail. Marin mumbled as if to say there technically was something to tell, but she quickly shoved him aside. "Then let's go find the treasure first. Come on, move it." They reached a wall. Marin groped along it. "I'm pretty sure there's a mechanism around here." Emotar and Dahlia stood by waiting. "Still not opening? Are you sure this is really the entrance?" "Hold on. Finding a treasure entrance isn't that easy, you know?" He pressed a brick with his hand, and a series of bricks fell away to form a passage. "Sure enough, there's a secret entrance." "Yes, let's charge in." Marin peered inside and warned, "It's very dark in there. Light it up." Emotar reached out and produced light. "This corridor goes on forever." The three of them marched in single file, treasure all the way at the back. Huh? After a while, she found it odd. A trap-filled dungeon, yet this secret passage had no traps at all? Lucky us. Dahlia noticed it too. Something's off. Emotar looked around. "What is it?" From her guess, there were mummies all over, so she expected giant scorpions too. Yet we've gone this far without seeing a single one. Absurd. That could mean someone else is in this dungeon besides us. The next area opened into a much larger room. Marin stood tucked behind a wall and signaled, "Light it up." Emotar, she complied, mumbling, "Shine on." The moment the scene came into view, Marin's pupils contracted. Seeing the room stained with blood, he was aghast. "What the hell is this?" The three stood frozen in the terrifying chamber. "What on earth is going on here?" Dahlia frowned. The room was creepy. "Isn't this a place for some kind of religious ritual?" Hard to believe a maze would have something like this. "Can't believe you used a creepy place like this for a secret passage, Marin." You reached out to touch the table's surface. "This is the first time I've seen this place. It used to be a resting area to relax after I dealt with those scorpion monsters." Emotar bent down and touched the sigil pattern on the floor. "I feel a strong unease coming from every direction. Goosebumps. It reeks of evil air." Dahlia flipped open a notebook. "According to the records, anyone who comes here is clearly no longer normal." She read a passage. There was a line that said, "The Demon King returns." Hearing that, Marin flinched. The Demon King returns? He felt a shock of alarm and thought it over. No way. Is this the work of that crazy dragon woman? So she's been hiding in a place like this for 100 years? Marin said, "Dahlia, let me see that book." She handed it over to him. "It's right here." At that moment, a figure in a red cloak appeared. "Hey, you there. Who are you people?" The two of them froze instantly. Is there really someone actually hiding in a place like this? The man suddenly agitated as if to strike. Then I'll make you my sacrificial offerings. Ad hoc mundi thelum. He lunged forward with a decisive blow. Dahlia gritted her teeth and leaned aside to block. Fight in a cramped room like this. There was a massive explosion of space. Chaos ensued. Marin smashed several bricks forward with his boot. The man nimbly dodged them at once. He bared his teeth and ground them. You unbelievers! How dare you enter here? Do you think those clumsy tricks will fool me? While he was still off guard, Imotar seized the moment and lunged. I'll burn you to dust. The cloak-wearing boss was immediately hit before he could react. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, sinking to his knees, his whole body trembling. Marin grabbed the man's collar. Answer my question. Though helmeted, the pressure he radiated was intense. What exactly are you scheming here? But the man laughed like a madman. Fools like you wouldn't understand. Then he boasted, this is the holy trace of the Demon King's resurrection ritual. Marin flinched slightly. A ritual? Holy? He hummed on. Earlier, a subordinate of the Demon King told me I need a noble sacrifice for his return. Don't you dare interfere with the grand plan he established. Marin tightened his grip on the collar. Tell us now. His voice dropped close to the man's face. You work with that mad dragon? Speak now. Seeing this, Dahlia immediately spoke to calm things. Marin, relax. We've got him restrained. We can interrogate properly. Unexpectedly, the cloaked leader flushed red, laughing loudly. I will not go against his will. I offer these sacrifices to this land. Bomber Inferno. Imotar's face drained of color. The incantation was. She hurried forward to pull Marin away. Marin, get away from him. But very quickly after that, a huge explosion occurred. Dust and smoke billowed up to the ceiling beams. Fortunately, the three were safe thanks to the protective barrier. Imotar sat down exhausted from exertion. I almost didn't expect him to detonate the explosive on his own body right in front of us. You help her up. Thanks, Imotar. Are you okay? She reassured them. I'm fine. I just drained all my mana, so my legs are a bit numb. At that moment, Dahlia realized something serious. The man had detonated himself voluntarily. The evidence had been completely burned away. Even if they reported it to the guild, the evidence was gone. Hard to ask them to investigate thoroughly. If he acted so decisively, might they be involved in something extremely dangerous? Marin finally recounted. The dragon I said I wanted to kill is researching the Demon King's resurrection. She was surprised. A dragon trying to resurrect the Demon King? Marin clarified the intent. If she has accomplices in her plan, there could be many others secretly performing similar rituals. This one certainly knew of that mad dragon. He held a torn black piece in his hand. A question formed in Marin's mind. If so, where is that dragon lunatic now? They discussed the door from earlier. Once you enter the secret passage, you can't exit through the same door. That's right, the three told themselves. Anyway, we should move on, and pass through the melted wall. Marin fell silent. He just stood there staring at it for a long moment, the scene shifting into space with a soft glow. This place, Imotar's eyes lit up and glittered. Seeing that pile of gold, she exclaimed in amazement, crazy. If I take all this home, my family could live comfortably for life. I might even find someone to love me. But then Marin exposed the truth. Imotar, all of this is fake. Once you take it out of the maze, it will all turn to trash. Her enthusiasm immediately deflated. No way, my dream of riches. Dahlia kindly advised. Consider it something that never belonged to you. Greed isn't good. He glanced around. The items on the altar are real, so she can take those. They must be somewhere nearby. Marin suddenly spotted an object from afar here, but the other two saw nothing. What? It's completely empty over there. Marin searched in frustration. Impossible. After 100 years, it should have reappeared by now. What is that? A cushion? A strange wooden stake stood upright in the pile of gold. Suddenly Dahlia cried out in alarm. Imotar, Marin, something weird is over there. Why did it suddenly collapse? She panicked, staring at the gold at their feet as the coins flowed like water. Another trap? Marin stammered before he could answer. No, this isn't. Without knowing when, a sharp-clawed foot appeared. The two craned their necks to look up. His eyes were cloudy and black. Nothing could be seen. This is... Suddenly Marin seemed to realize something. A sphinx. Why is the dungeon boss in the treasury? Before they could grasp the situation, the Sphinx spoke in a deep voice. Whoever seeks my treasure, I will grant you a challenge. The Sphinx raised a massive paw, ready to smack the whole bunch. It slammed down on the floor with a tremendous force. Luckily, Emotar, quick as a flash, dodged it. The boss suddenly took a hit right in the face and looked pretty sore. But the wound healed in an instant. The pile of gold around it was being siphoned to restore its health. Marin realized that this monster, whenever it was fed gold, would refill its blood like a golem. Kind of inconvenient and a little ridiculous. She asked Marin if there was a trick, but he said this was the first time he'd seen this boss in the treasure room. The Sphinx suddenly switched to riddle mode, a common trick to be bypassed without fighting. Suddenly, Emotar shivered, sensing an extremely unpleasant black magical aura. She realized something was off, buried deep beneath that pile of gold. The Beast King gasped in astonishment as she pulled that thing out from the coins. It was a charred wooden stake radiating the exact same energy as that mad wizard from before. Emotar didn't hesitate and yanked that filthy thing out. The boss roared violently. Losing the stake seemed to be causing it to leak power. Dahlia told the team that those very stakes were keeping the Sphinx's body from falling apart. Marin got the hint immediately and told Emotar to go find and pull out all the remaining stakes. Marin and Dahlia would act as meat shields, drawing the boss's attention so she could work freely. Marin quickly found and dealt with the next stakes buried under the gold. The Sphinx opened its eyes wide at them. The battle of wits officially began. The first question rang out. What always runs forward and never comes back? Dahlia started twisting up in her chair, terrified that a wrong answer would get her thumped. But Marin already knew the set of riddles from a past life. He answered time, and it had to confirm it was correct. The second asked, what does everyone have but never loses? The answer was a shadow, another point for Rin. Dahlia was totally shocked at how fast he answered, while Rin smiled inwardly because he already knew all the answers. But then came the final question. What is something you can never catch up to no matter how fast you run? Marin suddenly froze. His mind held no memory of this bizarre question at all. The boss didn't wait long. It began gathering a dark purple energy sphere in its mouth. Sensing trouble, Marin shouted for Dahlia to get away from him. A lethal beam of light shot straight from the Sphinx's mouth toward them. A massive explosion enveloped Marin, smoke and dust filling the whole room. Luckily, in the heat of the moment, he managed to use a defensive skill to block the attack. At the same time, Emotar pulled out the last stake, causing the dark magic to dissipate completely. Marin calmed himself down and then shouted the answer. The wheel at the back of the carriage. The Sphinx began to crack open. The energy inside exploded since there were no stakes left to hold it. It admitted the group had passed the intellect test and allowed them to pass before dissolving. The battle over. Dahlia and Emotar were exhausted, collapsing onto the gold heap and exhaling heavily. While resting, Marin suddenly noticed some strange items emerging from under the coins. They were all top tier. The sword Teufel's Fong, a priest's robe, and the saint's shoes. Emotar squealed with delight at finding relic-grade gear and urged Marin to take the sword. Dahlia said she uses a bow, so she doesn't need the sword and insisted he keep it. Marin picked up the new sword to test it. It felt surprisingly light and razor-sharp, definitely a rare find. Looking at the black stakes scattered around, Marin still wondered about their origin. He pondered silently, guessing some mysterious organization might be behind all this. Marin thought to himself that if these weird incidents were happening in other dungeons too, they'd be in real trouble. Dahlia suddenly pressed him about the 100 years he had accidentally mentioned earlier. She didn't look like she was joking. Marin could only fall silent, seeming to hesitate over whether to reveal this earth-shaking secret. Dahlia and Emotar looked at him with patience. She said that no matter how heavy the matter, they were willing to listen. Marin clenched his fists and decided to tell them about the blood-soaked past involving the Mad Dragon. It was a horrifying memory. His entire team was wiped out by that Mad Dragon. No one survived except him. To survive, he had to gamble everything on a legendary skill that turned him into a true monster. Both women froze upon hearing it. They hadn't expected the source of his overwhelming power to be so terrifying. The image of the spider demon form, standing amid his comrades' corpses resurfaced. That was the horrific price he paid to live. Bitterly, when he woke and returned to human shape, a full 100 years had passed. He gripped his weapon tightly. The pain of loss felt as fresh as if it had happened yesterday. His homeland, family, and friends were all gone. Seeing this, Dahlia gently put a hand on his shoulder to comfort him. She regretted having unintentionally reopened the wounds he'd long tried to bury. Emotar wondered why he hadn't said anything sooner, but Marin only gave a wry smile, thinking no one would believe such a wild tale. The beastkin scolded him affectionately, firmly declaring that whatever happened, they'd always be teammates. The two women's eyes were full of sincerity and trust. They accepted his true self without hesitation. Marin was stunned by his friends' genuine affection as they vowed to always trust him. He felt a weight lift and thanked the two wonderful teammates who had always stood by him. The gloomy atmosphere quickly disappeared, and Motar started teasing Marin again, making him blush bright red. Seizing the moment, Marin revealed another shocking secret. His true level had long since exceeded 200. After tidying up, the group left the dungeon. Night had fallen and the moon hung high. They were planning to camp and sleep rough in the desert when a Motar spotted a carriage approaching. Seeing the carriage heading toward the village, they ran out waving, asking for a ride to spare their tired feet. But a Motar still kept her dislike of humans. She'd rather sleep rough than share a ride with a bunch of humans. The merchant driving the carriage seemed very hospitable. He told them to get on, saying only that he wanted them along as protection. The carriage began to move. The wheels grinding on the dry sand signaled a rather bumpy journey. Inside the carriage, Emotar kept complaining about the human smell, giving her a headache. Dahlia soothed her and urged her to hold him a bit. Dahlia looked up at the starry night and thought to herself that hitching a ride like this was a smart choice to get back to the village sooner. Marin, however, remained lost in thought about the black wooden stakes. He planned to ask the Adventurers Guild to investigate them further. Just as things were peaceful, a strange sound rang out, and Dahlia and Emotar suddenly went limp and collapsed onto the carriage floor. Marin startled and looked back to see a weird purple smoke spreading throughout the carriage. Both girls were completely unconscious. Marin, stunned, realized he'd been far too careless to fall into this merchant's trap.